revised his testimony.
President Trump's ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland, attached an addendum to testimony he gave last month to House committees leading the impeachment inquiry. Sondland now says he believed that U.S. aid to Ukraine was linked to a public statement by Ukraine's president to investigate corruption of former Vice President Joe Biden.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern. President Trump keeps insisting the call with Ukraine's leader was perfect. He did nothing wrong. America's listening to Fox News.
In Chicago, we have 34 degrees, 5:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A lakeshore flood advisory has just been posted, but it does not go into effect until later this evening around 9 p.m. But it will last through early morning drive on Friday. Chicago's top cop is expected to announce his retirement this week. The Tribune reporting Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson will announce he is stepping down at the same time. The city inspector general is investigating an incident last month in which Johnson was found asleep in his vehicle near his home. A man accused of shooting a 53-year-old woman in front of her granddaughter was tracked down in Missouri by U.S. Marshals in an interstate manhunt. According to police, Charles Goforth was captured at a residence in Independence, Missouri. According to Inspector Mark Gregeline of the Great Lakes Regional Fugitive Task Force, Hammond police contacted the task force suspecting that Goforth had fled the area. Election night upsets in Northwest Indiana. Democrat Mayor Ron Meir lost his bid for re-election in the aftermath of a tumultuous week that included felony charges being filed against him. With all precincts reporting, Meir garnered about 28% of the vote to Republican candidate and winner Duane Perry's 29.9%, according to LaPorte County election results released last night. Meantime, in other Northwest Indiana action, David Uran will continue to serve as the City of Crown Point's mayor. Attorney for the families involved in a racial incident last month at a Naperville Buffalo Wild Wings is now calling on the restaurant to take more action. Canon Lambert says the sports bar chain can show other corporations how to stand up to racial attacks and racism. Families claim they were asked to move to a new table because another customer didn't want to be seated near black people.
I know what's going on. I've been informed by your staff that this man is racist. This couple, not just this man, this couple was racist, are racist. And I will refuse to move because of the color of my skin.
Marcus Riley says he talked with the manager about what happened. 2 managers have been fired. The customers have been banned from all Buffalo Wild Wings for life. A man who spent nearly 30 years behind bars for a Chicago murder he didn't commit is suing the city and multiple police officers. Arnold Day filed a federal suit yesterday claiming the officers working under disgraced former police commander John Burge beat him into confessing to the 1991 Southside killings of Rafael Garcia and Gerard Irving. An off-duty Chicago police officer is accused of striking an on-duty cop last week on the north side. Karina Salgado was charged with criminal trespass, battery, and resisting a police officer following the incident shortly after Halloween. Authorities say Salgado struck the officer in the face while police were trying to stop her from entering an establishment in the 3700 block of North Broadway. 5:05 on AM 560, The Answer. Charges this morning are pending against a man accused of stabbing his girlfriend to death on Chicago's Northwest Side. Police say officers were called out last night to the 2600 block of North Marmora Avenue after a woman was found lying on the bedroom floor with stab wounds to the neck. The victim died at the scene. A 15-year-old boy remains hospitalized in critical but stable condition this morning after he was struck by a car yesterday in north suburban Gurnee. It happened at Route 132 and Oak Plain Road near the Warren Township High School campus. Chicago sports found LeBron James posting his third straight triple-double as the Lakers rallied past the Bulls 118-112, but it didn't have to happen, according to Zach LaVine.
I think we didn't rebound the ball very well in the fourth quarter. They got a lot of offensive rebounds and, like 50-50 balls we didn't get our hands on, and they got second chance opportunities. And, once they got in rhythm, it was it was like the floodgates were open.
Four different Sharks scored in a 4-2 win over the Blackhawks in San Jose. The Fighting Illini opened the basketball season with a 78-70 overtime win over Nicholls State. DePaul, UIC, and Loyola were all winners. The news, a service of Napa Auto Parts. This month at Napa, AAA members get a 20% discount. So save big on batteries, brake pads, and more. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores, exclusions may apply, may not be combined with other offers, ends 11/30/19. 5:07, a check of traffic and weather on AM 560.
Dennis Prager sees the cheapening of words.
This impeachment stuff is beyond belief. Remember, the left cheapens everything. Impeachment means nothing now. Impeachment means we don't like the last election results. That's what it means. It used to mean you actually committed serious crimes.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Message and data rates may apply.
Help! Seriously, I'm too young for hair loss.
My hairline keeps creeping back. Receding?
I've got this bald spot.
It's thinning everywhere.
I'm gonna have to give up and shave it.
Dude, put down the razor, because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration expert, is about to give you your real hair back permanently. Don't ignore the signs of hair loss. Bosley is giving away an absolutely free information kit that reveals all the signs, and a free gift card to anyone who texts SECRET to 85850. Bosley will show you for free how great your hair could look. Using the latest technology, Bosley's solution to hair loss is permanent and protected by the Bosley Guarantee. Plus, since Bosley has new non-surgical options, you owe it to yourself to text now for an absolutely free information kit and a gift card for $250 off, no matter what level of hair loss you have. Text SECRET to 85850. That's SECRET to 85850.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. Outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic.
421 SCAL, and time to check the temperatures and update the conditions. Just received word from my friends at O'Hare. There are flurries this morning. 34 degrees. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy. Start next on AM 560, The Answer.
Napa know-how. Right now, only at Napa, AAA members get a 20% discount. So you can avoid getting stranded on the side of the road by picking up some quality parts like batteries, brake pads, and more. Meaning you can prevent the problem before it ever becomes a problem. Bravo! That's 20% off for AAA members. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Exclusions apply. May not be combined with other offers. Offer ends 11/30/19.
Hi there, Saver. Looking for a Medicare plan to help you save on more than just prescriptions? Medicare Advantage plans may offer prescription drug, medical, and hospital coverage. Walgreens is a preferred network pharmacy with many Medicare Advantage plans, including United Healthcare. So when you enroll in a plan with Walgreens as your preferred pharmacy, you know you're saving smartly. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Other plans may be accepted.
Hey everyone, Ken here. For 2 years now, you've heard Carrie and I use metaphors to test to see if you think your home or your business could use a revenue shot in the backside. Today, because of our new website, I can be a little bit more direct. Income Store has 2 doors. If you have more time than money, you're going to live under door number 1. You're going to see over 400 digital assets, 5 to 20 minutes apiece, that'll teach you how to manage numbers and lead people, or show you 6 growth tips you've never heard of. All of this so you can start growing your home or your business revenue literally immediately. If you have more money than time, door number 2 is going to be for you. You can view some of our managed services, look for more done-for-you packages. 34% of Americans in 2018 visited one of our managed services. Forbes 3 years in a row quoted, Income Store is an expert at generating home or business revenue. If you'd love to explore how to check out adding revenue to your home or business, just go to incomestore.com. That's incomestore.com.
My name is David Hochberg. Meet Joyce, recently divorced and credit challenged because her ex-husband's inability to pay bills on time. Joyce contacted Team Hochberg for a mortgage using only the court-awarded child support and alimony because she worked side jobs for cash and didn't have any verifiable income. FHA allows borrowers to use alimony and child support as income as long as it's been received for at least 3 months and will continue for at least 3 years after the loan closes. Joyce met both of these requirements, and Team Hochberg helped to secure a mortgage for her and her 3 kids. I've been divorced and know how stressful it can be. So if you're seeking a mortgage after a divorce, call Team Hochberg, your honest local lender who will always look out for your financial best interest, now at 855-56-DAVID. That's 855-563-2843, or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
Is your child falling behind academically? Is he overwhelmed, distracted, or unable to focus? Does your daughter lack confidence? It's not too late to consider the outstanding education and preparation for life that St. John's Northwestern Military Academy offers. For 135 years, St. John's Northwestern has prepared teens for college and beyond within a safe, secure, and structured environment, free from distractions and optimal for learning. St. John's Northwestern attracts teens grades 7 through 12 who are capable of achieving more, but need guidance and encouragement to get there. They inspire personal growth through a commitment to academic, spiritual, and character development, athletics, and a strong foundation essential for critical thinking and decision-making. St. John's Northwestern is in the beautiful Lake Country region of southeast Wisconsin, within driving distance of Chicago. Visit their beautiful 110-acre campus during their open house Friday, November 8th. Get more info at 1-800-SJ-CADET, 1-800-SJ-CADET, or online at sjnma.org. That's sjnma.org. St. John's Northwestern Military Academy. Leadership lives here.
Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So the results, yesterday's elections, Kentucky, Virginia, Mississippi, particularly Kentucky, because that's where you had incumbent Republican Matt Bevin appear to narrowly lose his re-election bid against the Democrat Attorney General there, Andy Beshear. There's a lot of qualification for this loss in a state that Trump won by 30 points. Ultimately, a lot of these state and local races turn out to be state and local matters. They're not necessarily a commentary on what's going on at the federal level. The difference here, though, is that the race was in part federalized, and that was punctuated with the rally on Monday night featuring Trump and Rand Paul and Matt Bevin. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Does the loss of Matt Bevin in Kentucky, the apparent loss, he may move for a recount, but the apparent loss, does that concern you in terms of being a canary in the coal mine for 2020?
Well, one well-known Republican out of Kentucky who is remaining anonymous tweeted out, sometimes being a blank hole is worse than being a liberal. So apparently he had some likability issues, Bevin did, in Kentucky.
It's not apparent. He was the least popular governor in America going into this election cycle. So there's no question that there was an issue there.
But President Trump did try.
You're sending that big message to the rest of the country. It's so important. You got to get your friends. You got to vote. Because if you lose, it sends a really bad message. It just sends a bad, and they will build it up. Here's the story. If you win, they're going to make it like ho-hum. And if you lose, they're going to say Trump suffered the greatest defeat in the history of the world. This was the greatest. You can't let that happen to me.
Bevin, among other things, he was a very good governor on policy, substantively very good. And one of the things he tried to do was tackle Kentucky's public pension system, reform it, because it's sort of below the fold. But it turns out that Kentucky has perhaps the worst unfunded public sector pension, second only to Illinois in the country. I mean, it's right there. It's Illinois, it's Kentucky, it's Connecticut. And so it's just this past summer, there was a reform measure that he signed into law that allowed quasi-governmental units like state universities to opt out of the state pension system, pay out their unfunded liabilities over 30 years, and set up 401ks for their employees. Now, of course, this didn't set well with public sector unions. But So that's one thing that's concerning. And it's also concerning in Virginia because here's the thing about Virginia. Once the public sector unions and champagne socialists dominate the most populous region of your state, it's over.
Right.
Please see Illinois. And so that's exactly what's happened in Northern Virginia, which is why Northern Virginia is a blue state, which is why ultimately it was just a matter of time before they took over the legislature, which Democrats did last night. So the Virginia, I don't think there's much to read about Virginia. As I said yesterday, prior to the election, it's a blue state. Yeah. Okay, just that's what it is right now. Kentucky, though.
Kentucky's ruby red, they say.
There's something else about Kentucky. There's something else about this, though. Yes, it's a state and local matter. Yes, Bevin was uniquely unpopular. Yes, the public sector unions perhaps have more antagonism and more motivation against an incumbent governor making policy at the state level that directly impacts their life on a day-to-day basis than they do, for example, Trump or Trump versus Hillary Clinton or Trump versus whoever. Yes, Beshear is attorney general, so he'd already been elected statewide. Yes, his dad was a two-term governor, and that was only 4 years ago. Yes, there hasn't been a Republican reelected governor in Kentucky since Reconstruction, so on and so forth. Okay, I get it. Don't read too much into it. But what about this? 2 points. One, it's a reminder that populism, whether it's Obama style or Trump style, and there are two very different styles, but they're strains of populism, fleeting with short coattails. Number two, the messenger and the message matter. On merit, on substance, Matt Bevin is off-putting even to people that otherwise support the policies he's pursuing. So there are opportunities. I mean, because here's the thing about this. There were moments for Bevin, just as there are moments, and there will be moments for Trump, to present counter to caricature. Right? I mean, there was one just the other day. I'll give you the good time he had at the White House with the Washington Nationals. They had a good time with him.
Yeah,
nice to see these baseball stars with the president.
Yeah, celebrating in their hometown. It was cool.
Having a good time. There are going to be other moments with regular Americans where he can behave counter to the preordained D.C. press corps narrative. So I'm not saying we're going to change. You're going to turn a 70-plus-year-old man into somebody he's not. That's not what I'm saying. There have already been moments like that I'm describing with Trump. There need to be more. And maybe this is a bit of a wake-up call on style. Mark on the South Side.
Good morning. What concerns me is the Republicans' strategy with this. Did they not learn from Alabama when they put up more? They knew that Bevin was vulnerable. Why didn't they get him out in the primary and put up a different candidate? It really doesn't make any sense. They did not learn from Alabama when they nominated Moore to run for the Senate. It just doesn't make sense.
All right, Mark.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Travel your way with the Apple Vacation Super Sale. With more destinations, more relaxation, and more fun, Apple Vacations puts affordable prices and unbeatable value right at your fingertips. It's all included. Flights, hotel, meals, drinks, and ground transportation in one convenient package price. With up to 60% off and instant savings up to $600 at participating resorts. Spanning the most prestigious destinations in Mexico, Velas Resorts offer personalized service for the ultimate family vacation or romantic getaway. Enjoy unlimited golf, distinctive culinary experiences, and special touches that will make your stay unforgettable. Call Carey Travel Express at 847-639-3300 or visit careytravelexpress.com to book your Apple vacation today. Savings valid at participating resorts on select dates from January through April 2020. Restrictions apply.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance. Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We could find you a $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-600-5451. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-600-5451. You could save up to 70%. That's 1-800-600-5451. 1-800-600-5451.
For more than 50 years, Mueller CPA, a certified public accounting and business advisory firm, has been serving clients in Chicagoland. Dave Nissen, Mueller's managing partner, is here to explain Mueller CPA's history, journey, and opportunity.
Thanks, Dan. Our firm was started by Al Mueller as a one-person CPA firm in 1968. Through growth and partnerships, Mueller CPA has blossomed from a regional firm to an organization that provides services worldwide. Mueller is a reflection of our years of listening and caring for our clients, and we would not be here today if it wasn't for our professionals and support personnel. We value the human side of our business and recognize it as being the most important element of our success. We are growing, we are hiring, and we welcome your interest in our firm.
If you are looking for your first opportunity or your forever career, join an award-winning team that cares about you. Visit the career page at MuellerCPA.com or call Dave directly at 630-524-5274.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Did Project Veritas's undercover interview or hot mic, the tape it received of an ABC anchor on a hot mic, did that get us any closer to answering the question as to whether or not Jeffrey Epstein got murdered at 5:38?
And later, is it time for President Trump and our U.S. Special Forces to wage war on those Mexican drug cartels? But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
34 degrees at 5:32. A lakeshore flood advisory in effect later today. Democrats claiming victory in 2 states after Tuesday's election. One is for sure. In Virginia, Democrats in a blue state now in control of both houses of the state assembly for the first time in 10 years. In Kentucky, Democrat Andy Beshear is claiming victory in the governor's race, but it is still too close to call.
It's a message that says our elections don't have to be about right versus left. They are still about right versus wrong.
The governor wants reports of voting irregularities looked at and for the legal process to play out. Suspect is under arrest in connection with the murders of 9 members of a family in Mexico. 3 women, 6 children shot and burned. Their cars ambushed by a cartel Monday. Tom Homan believes the Mexican president is foolish for refusing help as many members of Mexican law enforcement are compromised.
They need our help. They need our expertise because American investigators like the FBI and Homeland Security investigations, they can dismantle these organizations by attacking their transportation infrastructure, attacking their financial infrastructure, because once you attack their money, you can dismantle this organization.
Mexican law enforcement says the person was arrested in the state of Sonora. House Democrats reacting to news that America's EU ambassador Gordon Sondland is changing his testimony about Ukraine. Congressman Brad Sherman says he's not surprised.
The Ukrainians are not idiots. They saw it when they heard it from the president. This was just additional information.
Sondland revised his sworn congressional testimony after other Trump administration officials said there may have been a quid pro quo. Meantime, Senator Rand Paul says he'll probably release the name of the whistleblower whose complaint about President Trump's phone call with his Ukrainian counterpart sparked the House impeachment inquiry. Chicago's police superintendent expected to announce his retirement this week. The Tribune says Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson will announce he's stepping down. Election night upsets in Northwest Indiana. Democrat Mayor Ron Meir lost his bid for re-election in the aftermath of a tumultuous week that included felony charges being filed against him, with all precincts reporting candidate Dwayne Perry, the Republican, was a winner in that Michigan City mayoral election. Charges are pending against a man accused of stabbing his girlfriend to death on Chicago's Northwest Side. Police say officers were called out last night in the 2400 block of North Marmora Avenue after a woman was found dead on the bedroom floor. The victim died at the scene. Lakers rally past the Bulls, 118-112. Sharks 4-2 winners over the Blackhawks in San Jose. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity can't make heads or tails of the left.
To be a liberal Democrat, extreme radical socialist today, you have to suspend any fidelity to truth, to honesty, to common sense and reason. Because in their world, up is down, down is up. You know, black is white, white is black, green is purple, purple is green. That's the world they live in.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Folks, when shopping for a home mortgage, how much is great service, low closing costs, and competitive interest rates worth to you? At Townstone Financial, it's priceless. Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of Townstone Financial. Let's hear about the Townstone experience from one of our customers.
My name is Melissa, and I bought my first home with Townstone Financial. The owners of the house I bought wanted to close in a very short amount of time. I believe it was 3 weeks. And I was fortunate to have Barry at Townstone did everything for me. And Barry at Townstone explained everything to me, did everything, and then would show me the papers, and I signed them. And that was that. It was the easiest part about closing on the house for me.
Remember, nobody values your home mortgage business more than Townstone. I guarantee it, and I own the company. So call me now, Barry Sterner, at 312-896-2110. That's 312-896-2110. Or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financial is licensed in Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida. NMLS 136639. www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Equal housing.
Hey, if you're missing teeth or even a single tooth, then dental implants are a fantastic way to regain your confidence, your smile, and your dental health. Hey, Sean Hannity here. So what are you waiting for? Find out now if implants are for you. Successful implants don't come from an implant factory. Skill, treatment, installation, those are the main differences for successful lifelong implants. That's why you need to see Dr. Neruzzi at Fox River Periodontics. Dr. Neruzzi is the recommended choice of dentists that don't do implants themselves. You need the experience, the skill, and honesty that over 25 years of dental implants brings, and you're going to be happy with your implant. It's not a mass production procedure because everyone is different. And Dr. Neruzzi wants to talk to you about dental implants today.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants.
Call Fox River Periodontics at 630-232-7400. They're online at implantsforme.com.
5:37 AM 560 traffic center time and Jim Talamonte.
Inbound Bishop Ford Freeway traffic is clogged up early from 115th Street to Cottage Grove. A crash there. We're looking at 24 minutes from 8094 to the Ryan. Outbound fine at 15 minutes. I-57 is delay-free inbound. Outbound, there is road work in pockets from Sibley to Cicero this morning. The off-ramp to eastbound 167th is blocked. Looking at 8094 eastbound, traffic is stop and go from Indianapolis Boulevard to Kennedy Avenue. A collision there blocking the left lane. The Edens is cleared, the Kennedy as well. Reversibles are open inbound. The Eisenhower is cleared up after some work. Stevenson to the ride okay. No problems to report right now on Lakeshore Drive. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Chilly, snow showers already this morning, followed by some possible cold rain this afternoon. High 48, cloudy, breezy, cold, couple of snow showers overnight, low 27. 34 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Mortgage Update with Dan Frio. Every Saturday morning at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So James O'Keefe and his Project Veritas crew got their hands on some tape of ABC News anchor Amy Robach.
Yeah, she's the one who did the sit down with Hunter Biden. She used to work at NBC and then switched over to ABC and is a rising star over there.
ABC News anchor Amy Robach. There you've got her CV now.
And she's married too.
I couldn't be less interested.
Okay, fine.
Who is it?
No. if you don't care. No,
I'm sure
no.
there are some gossip girls out
No.
there that want to know.
Andy Shue?
Andrew Shue, the actor from
the actor, yes.
Melrose
They have
Place?
2 kids together, yes.
Oh. Was that
Maybe
fascinating?
Dan cares now. Huh?
No.
Okay, well, I tried.
Not really.
What?
Maybe if she was married to Courtney Thorne-Smith, I would care. So anyway, Amy Robach, this ABC News anchor, on a hot mic, essentially expressing her frustration about ABC News' decisions not to air interviews that she had done, information that she had called together on Jeffrey Epstein years before this all broke apart over the last, half of this year. And here's what she said about everything that she and ABC had that they chose not to go with.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. And I had it all 3 years ago.
Okay.
And she's sitting there on set waiting to go on, but talking to her producer who was standing across from her just about how she had it, and they wouldn't let her run the story.
How wise is it for her to be sitting at an anchor desk, mic'd up, and saying things like that?
I think it's great. I love it because now we know. NBC tried to squash Ronan Farrow from doing the Harvey Weinstein story, and then you have ABC doing the same thing, but with Jeffrey Epstein. Mm-hmm. They're both sick sexual perverts and monsters, and they don't want to do the story because they're men of power and they have money.
Well, I'm just saying, just professionally.
Professionally, I hope she's fine. I hope she doesn't lose her job over this.
Well, professionally, just what are you doing, talking from an anchor desk when you know you're on a mic? What are you doing?
Sometimes
saying
you
those
sit there
things?
for hours waiting to do your teases or
Okay,
you just sit there. So she's passing the time and upset.
She's upset. She had the story. It got spiked. She holds court on whether or not she thinks Epstein was murdered or committed suicide.
Murdered.
So do I think he was killed? 100%. Yes, I do. Because he made his whole living blackmailing people. Yeah. There were a lot of men in those planes, a lot of men who visited that island, a lot of powerful men who came into that apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew. One of the reasons, right, that is so feasible that they didn't want to run the story because they wanted to make sure that they didn't piss off the palace and get that interview with William and Kate.
And Robach suggesting that the whole Epstein getting roughed up was a seed that was planted to set up the murder.
And they made it seem as though he made that suicide attempt 2 weeks earlier, but his lawyers claimed that he was roughed up by his cellmate around the neck. That was all to plant the seed, and then that's why I really believe it. Really believe it.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 646-36DA, turnkey.pro text line. Do you really believe it as well, that the whole thing was an elaborate setup to take out Jeffrey Epstein by somebody or some buddies?
Well, I always have. I mean, his cellmate was transferred. Sure. Well, his cellmate was transferred 2 days before, so he was in there alone, knowing that he allegedly had tried to hurt himself before. He had gone to a psychiatrist who examined him and said, all right, you're no longer on suicide watch. The surveillance cameras outside his cell, by just weren't working that day, Dan. They weren't on, which I find very circumspect. But the key to me is if you read this New York Post page 6 interview with his attorneys, they had been with him all day, and he was really he thought he was going to beat this, and he was really upbeat before they left him that day. So he would spend hours with his attorneys just to have somebody to talk to and to stay engaged. And they said he wasn't depressed at all.
So let me ask you a question. The same attorneys that were to believe that say he wasn't depressed are the attorneys that were not to believe that say he was roughed up, rather than I believe he was that say he was roughed up rather than tried to commit suicide.
Yeah, he would because remember there was an incident 3 weeks before he allegedly committed suicide, and where he was roughed up by the cellmate. He was with a cellmate who was a former cop who looked really pretty scary. You saw his picture. Remember I showed you Epstein's cellmate?
Follow the logic here. They say he attempted to commit suicide. We're not supposed to believe. I mean, the attorneys say he got roughed up.
Right.
But what it really was an attempted suicide.
Allegedly, I don't believe that it was an attempted suicide. And then they put him in, solitary confinement. He was under suicide watch, and then a psychologist interviewed him, and he got back out into general pop again. And they took away his cellmate. The cellmate's the person who protects you from committing suicide. That's what they do.
Wait.
And then you've got
hold on. Let's hear from Amy Robach again. Hold on a second.
And they made it seem as though he made that suicide attempt 2 weeks earlier, but his lawyers claimed that he was roughed up by his cellmate around the neck. That was all to plant the seed, and then that's why I really believe it. Really believe it.
So the lawyers claim he was roughed up. It was not a suicide attempt, and then he wasn't. He still wasn't suicidal. So the lawyer's threat is consistent. Okay.
And then you have the independent autopsy that was completed by Baden. I'm probably butchering his name, but
Michael Baden.
Michael Baden, and
yes.
there was 3 fractures of the thyroid cartilage. That is similar with homicidal strangulation, not from hanging yourself.
Oh, Dr. Jacobson is on call. All right. Yeah, that's right.
And Epstein's brother is the one who paid for this independent autopsy to be done because he doesn't believe his brother killed himself either. The guy was so narcissistic, guys. Come on. He's not going to kill himself. He got killed because he has information about Prince Andrew and other very extremely high-profile men.
So does Ghislaine Maxwell, his number 2, according to Amy Robach.
Ghislaine Maxwell, who I had all sorts of stuff on her too. I love it. I'm like, it's so funny to hear everyone say her name now because I'm like, oh my God, I had all this, and everyone was like, who's that? Who cares? I kept getting that. Who cares? She knows everything. She knows. She should be careful. Well, she was she went out and recruited all of these girls. She should watch her back.
Yeah, you go, Amy.
Because if she goes, I'd have security guards all around me.
So why haven't they taken her out if she knows everything? Whoever the they is, that allegedly took out Epstein. Can't get to her, but they could get to him at the MCC.
Well, wasn't she posing like she's at some In-N-Out burger in L.A. when she was really in New York? And maybe she is hiding. Maybe she's running around.
Mm-hmm. A lot of maybes.
And just so you know, too, detectives, they found Epstein's address book, and there was 13 different phone numbers for Prince Andrew.
Yeah.
And that girl, that woman.
So here's the thing. The Project Veritas video, it certainly goes to the ABC News standards of reporting. I understand the indictment there. It doesn't answer. It's Amy Robach's opinion, but she gives no basis for the opinion that she thinks that he was killed. So I'm a conspiracy theorist skeptic.
Right.
You have to present information that tends to corroborate the story that you're telling. There's some circumstantial evidence. There's a lot of evidence that there's a lot of logical inferences that powerful men who had exposure would want this guy taken out. But a generic desire among many to have somebody taken out is not the same thing as proving that he was taken out. And Amy Robach's statements don't provide any new information as to that, just her opinion. And it's mainly colored by the fact that he was a blackmailer and that he had a lot of powerful men exposed, or he could have exposed. Yeah. Okay. ABC.
Well, the fact that ABC News passed on this for 3 years, shame on them.
Well,
that's just more evidence for me not to trust mainstream media.
Well,
because they're the gatekeepers deciding what stories we can hear and what stories we want. He was kidnapping girls, holding them against their will, and sexually assaulting them because he had to have sex 3 times a day. Blah blah blah.
Here's what ABC News released in response to this video.
Ooh, what did they say?
At the time, not all of our reporting met our standards to air, but we have never stopped investigating the story. Ever since we've had a team on this investigation and substantial resources dedicated to it. Okay. That work has led to a 2-hour documentary and 6-part podcast that will air in the new year. So there you go.
Oh, I have to wait a few months.
Robach also changed her tune.
Uh-oh.
Somebody wants to keep their job. As a journalist, as the Epstein story continued to unfold last summer, I was caught in a private moment of frustration. I was upset that an important interview I conducted with Virginia Giuffre as well. I was upset that an important interview I conducted with Virginia Roberts didn't air because we could not obtain sufficient corroborating evidence to meet ABC's editorial standards about her allegations. My comments about Prince Andrew and her allegation that she had seen Bill Clinton on Epstein's private island were in reference to what Virginia Roberts said in that interview in 2015. I was referencing her allegations, not what ABC News had verified through our reporting. The interview itself, while I was disappointed it didn't air, didn't meet our standards. In the years since, no one has ever told me or the team to stop reporting on Jeffrey Epstein, and we have continued to aggressively pursue this important story.
Oh, my. And then did it say at the end, and please don't fire me?
Well, so here's the thing. There's some good tweet. Molly Hemingway tweeting on this. In addition to the statements I just read you, not actually being responsive to what the hot mic claims were, mostly what this shows is that ABC News has indefensibly different standards for example, Kavanaugh allegations or Covington boys than it does Clinton-connected pedophiles. Right. The uncorroborated allegations against Kavanaugh in the middle of his confirmation, Syria war footage that's actually from a Kentucky gun range, those meet ABC News' standards. Those unverified allegations, unverified, not independently corroborated information, those go to air, but this doesn't.
About that. Oh my gosh.
So, but I mean, here's my take on the Veritas video and what Robach had to say. It certainly goes to undermine the idea that ABC News has journalistic standards.
Yeah, they don't.
Or that they're consistently applied to the extent they promote the idea they do.
News.
But it doesn't give us any new information about Epstein in prison and what happened to him. By the way, we'll talk to George Perry, who's a colleague of Michael Bodden's at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour about this.
Wait. We're going to change your mind, Dan. I promise.
I don't think so.
At the end of the show, your mind it'll be different.
My mind will be mush. John and Huntley, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, guys, thanks for taking my call. I got 2 points. One, I want to go back to Mark Hemingway's conversation you guys had a couple weeks ago about regulative fiction.
Yes.
And how that plays into the story. The suicide gives the fluency to the story. Everybody can believe he committed suicide. If they said that he was murdered, it opens up a huge can of worms. Number two, I think Amy Robach, I guess is her name, she saw what happened to Ronan Farrow, and she didn't want to wait the 3 years. You're absolutely right. She was mic'd up. I think she just wanted to get the story out, and whether or not ABC wanted her to say it or she just went rogue, I don't know. But that's all I got to say. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
She was talking to her producer, waiting to,
Yeah, that was not done on purpose by her.
No.
David and McCook.
Good morning, guys. Not only were the cameras not working, but not one, but 2 prison guards were conveniently asleep when this happened.
Yep, taking a little nappy-noopy.
Thanks for the call, David. Right. You still got to put tell me.
So that allowed a third party to go in there, off them, and then leave.
How did that third party get in the facility in the first place?
I'm sure somebody paid off a guard, or a guard was paid himself. I honestly think a guard was paid to off him, then tie the thing around his neck. If you wear gloves, there's no fingerprints.
Yeah.
Then tie the whatever he used to commit. I think the bed sheets.
No cameras on that cell functioning, but cameras of the rest of the facility, and no unidentified person has been presented having caught on any of those cameras.
I read into this yesterday. The Washington Post said there's unsubstantiated video. They can't determine what is on it. And it's grainy. And there's video from another wing of the prison that's close to his cell.
Okay. So you have nothing. I got you.
Yeah. No. No.
Chip in St. Charles.
I remember the big deal that all the press and all the politicians made of that Khashoggi guy getting murdered at the Saudi Arabian embassy, and then Jeffrey Epstein dies in his prison cell, and it all just goes away real quick, and nobody wants to talk about it anymore. I find Jeffrey Epstein is the American Khashoggi.
Okay, thanks, Chip. Craig in Mount Greenwood.
Hey, Dan and Amy. Hey, this whole thing, I don't have any new information to add to it, but I'll tell you this. I agree with the fact that I believe that because of the people that are involved, not least of which is the Clinton bunch, that they could have got in there and got to that guy and everything like that.
How?
But all the different things that... What's that?
How?
All the different things that came up. And the answer to your question about this girl Maxwell, I believe that they got to her to talk to her and say, listen, we're going to take you out, and if you want to hide or whatever, we'll take out your family if we catch one peep of you saying anything. I think they I believe that they already scared her off of saying a word, and that's why she's not taken out. But the Clintons and everything, they got these people all over the place and everything, inside the deep state and all over. I don't think it's a stretch to believe that they got somebody on the inside there in a prison system that could go in there and take care of business for him. I believe he was taken out.
All right, thanks for the call, Craig. Yeah, I think anything under the sun is possible. Okay, but everybody has seen too many Bourne Identity movies. It just doesn't normally play out that way in real life. Even if you had a special forces unit, it doesn't play out that way in
you're giving
real
me another
life.
idea.
Yeah, sure. They scramble the military. I mean, honestly, people need to get a hold of themselves with this. This Project Veritas video, and good for James O'Keefe, and good for them for getting in. Good for them for continuing to solicit essentially whistleblowers inside these big media organizations to at least hold the media accountable. But that's not the same thing as saying that there's any reason to believe, any fact basis to say that Epstein was murdered. Not yet.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but...
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting TOP to 350350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 LASIK surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago. And we're offering 20% off our already low-cost services.
What's that text again?
Text TOP to 350350. That's TOP to 350350 to schedule your free consultation today.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
In our latest campus speech, a professor at Utah University says space doesn't exist. It's just a construct of whiteness. Yeah, 606.
And later, Eddie Johnson could be gone by the end of this week. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
A man accused of stabbing his girlfriend to death on the Northwest Side. Lawyer urges a restaurant to take more action after a racist incident in Naperville. Lakers rally past the Bulls. Blackhawks fall to the Sharks. And a snow shower in your forecast this morning. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
A declaration of victory in Kentucky, but no concession of defeat. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
From now on, the doors of your state capitol will always be open.
But while Democrat Andy Beshear celebrates, Republican Governor Matt Bevin says, hold on. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more live on this and other elections.
Dave, while the Secretary of State of Kentucky, a Democrat, called that race for Beshear, Governor Bevin has not conceded the race, citing irregularities.
We want the process to be followed. The process will be followed. And in the end, we will have the governor that was chosen by the people of Kentucky.
He has not offered any evidence of irregularities. Now, in Virginia, Democrats flipped control of the state Senate and House, gaining outright control of state government. And in Mississippi, Republican Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves won the governor's race over Democrat Jim Hood. Dave.
Tanya, investigators in Mexico have reported an arrest made in Monday's massacre of 9 Americans. A relative of the 3 women and 6 kids killed is giving Fox more details of how it happened.
3 wives departed the Mormon community in 3 separate SUVs just outside of town. One vehicle gets a flat. The other 2 SUVs return back to town, get male relatives to come help fix the flat. After dropping them in, the 3 women continue on their journey, only to drive up and over a mountain and into an ambush and hail of bullets from a rival cartel.
That's Fox's Griff Jenkins. 3 more Trump administration officials are expected to be no-shows in the impeachment inquiry, though Undersecretary of State David Hale may be there today to answer House Democrats' questions. This after U.S. Ambassador to the European Union Gordon Sondland revised his testimony that he now presumes military aid to Ukraine was held up initially to get an investigation into the Bidens. President Trump disputes that, says he did nothing wrong. They're asking for prayers in Dayton, Ohio for the police detective shot during a drug raid Monday night.
He is under advanced life support.
Dayton Police Chief Richard Beal. America's listening to Fox News.
34 degrees, 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Lakeshore flood advisory has been posted, but it doesn't go into effect until 9 this evening. Chicago's police superintendent is expected to announce his retirement this week. The Tribune says Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson will announce he's stepping down. At the same time, the city inspector general is investigating an incident last month in which Johnson was found asleep in his vehicle near his home. 2 insider candidates are already emerging as possible replacements for Johnson. This morning, there's big news on Wall Street involving Deerfield-based international drugstore chain Walgreens. The company's exploring going private in what could mark the largest leverage buyout in history. People familiar with the situation are telling CNBC this morning one of the firms looking at a deal is KKR, Kohlberg, Kravitz, and Roberts. KKR has a history with the retailer. A man accused of shooting a 53-year-old woman in front of her granddaughter was tracked down in Missouri by U.S. Marshals in an interstate manhunt. Tuesday afternoon, Northwest Indiana resident Charles Goforth was captured at a residence in Independence, Missouri. Hammond, Indiana police contacted a local regional fugitive task force suspecting that Goforth had fled the area. An election night upset in Northwest Indiana as Democrat Mayor Ron Meir lost his bid for re-election in Michigan City in the aftermath of a tumultuous week that included felony charges being filed against him. Republican candidate Dwayne Parry is the winner in LaPorte County. 6:03 on AM 560. A man who spent nearly 30 years behind bars for a Chicago murder he says he didn't commit is now suing the city and multiple police officers. Arnold Day filed the federal suit yesterday. And a West Suburban high school has fired its head football coach for violating a school policy 3 years ago. Fenwick High School saying in 2016, Gene Nudo allowed an assistant to attend a couple of practices and help during some games. The problem is that person had not undergone a background check, which is mandatory. Lakers rally past the Bulls, 118-112. College hoops last night. It was Illinois over Nicholls State, DePaul over Alcorn State, UIC a winner, as was Loyola and our NIU Huskies. The news service of InvisibleFence.com. Let Invisible Fence brand be your second set of hands this holiday season. Their indoor shields units can do just that by creating an invisible boundary to help keep pets off furniture, countertops, even out of entire rooms. Visit invisiblefence.com to learn more. That's invisiblefence.com. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager sees the cheapening of words.
This impeachment stuff is beyond belief. Remember, the left cheapens everything. Impeachment means nothing now. Impeachment means we don't like the last election results. That's what it means. It used to mean you actually committed serious crimes.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. Patriot Software provides American businesses with easy, cloud-based, premium accounting software and full-service payroll for up to 100 employees. Business owners love the simplicity, the price, and our U.S.-based support. And accountants love the powerful capabilities. Check out our nearly perfect 5 out of 5-star ratings.
Keep your time and money.
I'm Dr. Bob Arnott, and I treat pain with Salonpas. Before you take anything for back or joint pain, I recommend applying topical pain relievers first, like Salonpas lidocaine patch. Salonpas lidocaine contains the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription. It blocks pain receptors, providing effective, long-lasting, and non-addictive relief. Also available in roll-on or cream. Look for the silver Salonpas box in the pain relief aisle. Salonpas, it's good medicine.
Attention. If you're in debt to the IRS and frustrated with your options, for a limited time you can call and quickly check your eligibility for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problem. Through this special toll-free hotline number, you can find out in minutes if you qualify for these powerful new debt reduction programs greenlighted by the IRS for 2019. If you have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or just want to know your options, business or personal, Republic Tax Relief's A-plus rated tax relief system has helped thousands stop IRS collections immediately and saved millions in tax debt. These relief programs will not last forever. Call their hotline number now, 800-606-8489. That's 800-606-8489. Check your eligibility for tax debt savings today. Call 800-606-8489. That's 800-606-8489.
Staples Print and Marketing Services helps your business turn big ideas into bigger ideas. Now when you make a print and marketing services purchase, you get 20% off your next order. In-store only, offer ends 11/9/19, exclusions apply. See staples.com/print20 for details. Staples.
6:07 AM 560 Traffic Center time. Jim Telemonte.
Inbound Bishop Ford Freeway traffic is jammed from the Boviet Woods Forest Preserve to Cottage Grove. There's a 3-car collision in the right lane. It's 32 minutes, 8094 to Ryan. We're seeing heavy delays on the inbound Stevenson this morning, 355 to 83, First Avenue to Pulaski, and approaching the Ryan. It is already an hour and 6 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 48 minutes from the Tri-State, outbound 36 minutes to 355. On Kennedy, tied Cumberland to Central, 24 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Eisenhower, 35 minutes, 390 to the Burn Circle. 8094 is heavy eastbound from the state line to Kennedy Avenue. Crash in the 2 left lanes. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answers starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast comes to us from the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Cloudy and chilly, snow shower for this morning, followed by some rain this afternoon, the high 48. Cloudy, breezy, and cold. Snow shower tonight, low 27. Partly sunny, breezy, cold day tomorrow with a high at 34. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Flurries at O'Hare, 35 degrees. Next news, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Don't miss the ammo event this weekend at Shoot Point Blank. Pick up great deals on ammo, like 50 rounds of 9mm as low as $10.99 per box. The more ammo you buy, the more you save. Load up this weekend at Shoot Point Blank's ammo event. See store for details.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
5 in the morning, Dan and Amy. We haven't talked a lot about this, but I think it's starting to pick up in pace a little bit, seems to me. Certainly the coverage is, which means people are talking. Former Madigan aides, political allies, power ComEd, Springfield lobbying. See, there's at least 2 concurrent investigations going on by 219, by the U.S. Attorney's Office here.
All right, what are they?
One is with respect to the ComEd bailout that was inked by Governor Rauner and bribery. ComEd.
Why are we bailing out ComEd?
Yes.
Can I be bailed out?
That's an operative question, but in terms of the federal investigation, it wasn't the policy choice. It's the way that policy choice came about, and a lot of suggestions that a lot of money was being distributed to buy votes. That's one bucket. The other bucket is the whole area of gaming, and this is in part what the state rep Arroyo was arrested related to last week. And then there may be a third bucket with respect to some of the municipalities that have seen federal interest, like Lyons, Cicero, may involve red light cameras. But this story of Dan Mahopoulos, Tony Arnold for BEZ, 15 of the 23 firms that work for ComEd in Springfield this year deployed lobbyists with direct ties to House Speaker Mike Madigan. For generations, it's been common practice for powerful private interests to hire Springfield lobbyists who previously worked for Madigan or were loyal to House Democrats under his reign. Madigan heads the state's Democrat Party, of course. The connections between Madigan and the utility have come under greater scrutiny in recent months as an ongoing federal criminal probe delves into the giant power companies' lobbying of the Illinois state officials who regulate it and who buy and sell those state officials. That's what's actually going on. Mahopoulos points out the feds have sought information about Madigan on several fronts. Some of the homes, the raids on homes with Madigan ties, the raid on the City Club of Chicago.
Really?
As more of the news of the federal probe has emerged, state lobbyist disclosure records show ComEd has recently parted ways with some of the lobbyists who have the coziest connections to Madigan. They're trying to cut bait, right? Trying to walk away. It is, without getting into all of the palace intrigue, BEZ's investigation finds the ranks of ComEd lobbyists in 2019, 8 former aides to Madigan, 2 lawyers who have continued to work for Madigan even as they lobbied ComEd, 5 retired legislators who used to serve in the Illinois General Assembly as part of the House Democrat caucus, of course, which Madigan has lorded over for nearly 4 decades.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and on and on and on, the interconnections. But my question, and by the way, they'll before this is all said and done, you'll see, particularly with something like ComEd and with gaming, it's going to be across the political spectrum. There'll be Republicans implicated as well. Maybe not implicated for criminal wrongdoing. I don't know who's going to be implicated for criminal wrongdoing, indicted for criminal wrongdoing, but implicated in terms of participating in the buying and selling of each other for the private gain of the interests that hire them. You're gonna find that to be the case. I can almost guarantee you. But this is getting very interesting because I guess my question would be, there's so much focus on Madigan, and there has been for such a long time. And yeah, oh boy, wouldn't it be great to bring Madigan and Ed Burke to justice if they've done anything wrong, which I suspect they have.
I'm sure that they have.
Well, I don't know. You got to prove it in a court of law. But wouldn't it be nice? And that would signify a new era in Illinois politics and the possibility that we could actually start digging out from the abyss into which we've fallen. Is that what you believe?
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment.
Are we just a Madigan and Burke prison sentence away from the good old days in Illinois? You think that? Who would replace Madigan if he were deposed or walked away? Any idea? Does it matter?
Or would it be the same old, same old?
Wouldn't it, though?
I don't know. Maybe, you know what? That's the only hope we have. Is if he resigns or retires or wants to go spend more time with his family.
Is that a hope? Why? What you think things would change?
That's the only chance we have, don't you? I mean, he has more power than the governor of the state. His family, they're in charge of the governor's plane. They take control of that. It's right there at Midway Forum. Anytime he wants to dash on down to Springfield, he gets to use it. He's in charge. He's the thug politician who has profited so greatly. I mean, he sets tax code, but then he's a lawyer for a company that tries to reduce property tax rates.
Who would do it any differently? Is this on? Yeah. Yeah, the secondary question's a difficult one, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was at this lunch on Friday. I mentioned this over the weekend at Freedom Summit. It was really interesting. This first Friday's lunch at the Union League Club.
Yeah.
And the speaker was Ed Waymer, who probably many of you know, the founder of Wintrust Bank. An incredible success story. Built a $35 billion bank from scratch. And the talk that Waymer gave was about the intersection of faith and business, and faith and how it informed his business success. And it's funny, he's got these 4 principles that guide his business decisions and represent the corporate culture of Wintrust Bank. Mm-hmm. Pretty simple. And I shared these on Saturday as well, so some of you probably heard me. But
I didn't hear it.
Take the blame, share the fame, avoid the shame, mm-hmm. enjoy the game. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Take the blame, share the fame, avoid the shame, enjoy the game. And I'm listening to Ed Waymer talk about his faith, and I asked him actually about, was there a seminal moment in your business career where, particularly on the avoid the shame, where you didn't do something that you could have done and it made all the difference. You didn't do something you could have done because you knew it was wrong, because it was against your principles, even if it may have provided some short-term benefit, because you knew it was wrong and it made all the difference. And then he actually tells a story about not doing a deal that he could have done and deciding after that meeting broke up that he was going to start his own bank, which became Wintrust Bank. So a pretty important moment. So he's telling all this about faith and principle. And I'm sitting next to a priest, sitting in a room of Catholics, and people are interested in conversations about faith, the intersection of faith and fill in the blank, your everyday life. And who's sitting across from me, diagonally across from me?
Who?
Union League Club. Ed Burke.
Really?
Ed Burke, because, he's a good Catholic.
Maybe he's trying to
get
in touch with his
part of his
Catholicism
penance.
again, yes.
No, I understand why Ed Burke is there. Ed Burke is there because he has to keep up appearances that nothing's wrong. There's no problems here. And he's still that venerated public servant who's given the 50 years of his life to Chicago and so on and so forth. The kind of stuff that most of the press corps would write about him dutifully until he finally comes under federal scrutiny. That's not the issue. The issue is not Ed Burke being there. The issue is the folie douce in the room. The rest of the room it finds this unremarkable. The psychosis of the culture here. It says, oh, sure, Ed Burke, he's a statesman, city council, city elder, author. See, to me, the problem, and I'm happy to see the U.S. Attorney's Office and U.S. Attorney Lausch round up as many people as can be rounded up legitimately and prosecuted at every level of government in this state, starting with Madigan. Happy to see it. And I think that maybe Lausch is the guy to actually do this because he's from here. As much as Patrick Fitzgerald, bring in an outsider because you need an outsider who's not tied to the system. Actually, it might turn out you need an insider who understands the system. And Lausch is a South Sider, I think Brother Rice, who understands these guys, knows probably a lot of these guys. And this seems to me the most aggressive investigation afoot since what? Greylord? I mean, I understand you had a Governor Ryan go down and you had a Governor Blagojevich go down, but that's just, cutting off the head of the chicken. In this state, the chicken is a regenerative animal. The head grows back, and it did. Because, well, frankly, that wasn't the real head, was it? That was the titular head, the governor, but the real head during those prosecutions was always Madigan, and no U.S. attorney has gotten close to him or to the culture in Springfield the way that they've tried to pick off the low-hanging fruit on the city council. So you start to work your way up through the state legislators, and maybe you start to get some principles, and maybe you can usher in a new era where you get a new crop of aspirants to public office who have ideas other than personal enrichment. Maybe. It's possible. It's possible. You have to open up the realm of possibility. But I just I struggle to see where those people are going to come from in a state that's leading the nation in out-migration with a political culture that sits in a room listening to a great success story and Ed Waymer talk very cogently and thoughtfully about faith. And you say, yeah, isn't that great? That Ed Waymer's the model. And he is. But we're sitting in a room where we then go back to our daily lives and pretend that Ed Burke is actually the model. So what's it going to be?
Did you talk to Ed Burke, by the way?
No. No. Joe on the South Side.
Hey, good morning, you guys. Great show. Yeah, Ed Burke went to one of the two Quigleys. I don't know who was on the Quigley seminary prep schools that the Archdiocese ran. And like I was telling your Peter, he graduated from there, became a cop, studied for law, and became a lawyer. But then I also told him that all lawyers suffer, I think, from a sick. Not all, but some suffer from a sickness of the soul, which they, they don't. They're not born that way, like everything else.
Nobody is born a lawyer, Joe. That's right. Everything has to go wrong, and then you become one. Yes, thanks for the call. I appreciate that. Kristen McQuarrie has a piece in the Tribune about this, and I mentioned Greylord. She mentions it too, I think. Operation Safe Road. What's the name of this operation? ComEd bribery, corruption related to gambling legislation, maybe red light cameras. Maybe more, who knows? I mean, there are layers and layers of scams ever ongoing. She suggests Operation Fixed, a straightforward, flexible identifier that captures the way many citizens of Chicago and Illinois feel about their government. It works for itself, not us, not without a price. I wonder if a certain plucky gubernatorial candidate from a bygone era inspired that.
Yeah, Illinois isn't broken, it's fixed. Who was that? I think he's a good-looking gent.
Yeah. He was one of those from a long time ago who had some promise, and it just never panned out.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're self-employed and purchase your own health insurance, I have some good news. From now until December 15th, you cannot be denied coverage based on a pre-existing condition, and depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. And this year, thanks to President Trump, if you're healthy and your income is too high to qualify for a subsidy, there is a new and competitive non-Obamacare marketplace where premiums are much lower and the PPO networks include access to our teaching hospitals in Chicago. Employers who provide small group coverage also have new options, and so do seniors looking for Medicare supplement coverage. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor. See Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for 7 years. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551.
You've heard Rumpke's Garage commercials on AM 560, so you know they specialize in servicing Sprinters and light-duty diesels. But the experts at Rumpke's also service Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks. So if you own an Isuzu or Chevy low-cab forward truck but aren't sure where to get it repaired, take it to Rumpke's Garage, your number one dealer alternative for repairs to your Isuzu NPR, Isuzu F-Series, or Chevy low-cab forward truck. Whether gas or diesel, your truck is the lifeline of your business. That's why Rumpke's Garage offers free loaners while your truck is being serviced. They'll even pick up and deliver for your convenience. And by the way, we hung out with the Rumpke's Garage folks at Freedom Summit on Saturday, and they were delightful. A lot of fun. Good people. Rumpke's Garage has the factory scan tool to properly diagnose Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks. Their commitment to your business is backed with a complimentary maintenance plan and free 2-year warranty. Go to rumpkesgarage.com to learn more about their specialization in Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks and schedule your appointment today. That's Rumpke's, REMKES, garage.com.
Hi, I'm Alan Bronson. And I'm Bill Cook. All of us at Clear Financial Strategies want to thank you for the overwhelmingly positive response to our previous ads, but the 75% discount on our fiduciary review ends soon. We have good news. You and your employees need not be constrained by one-size-fits-all retirement plans. Working with industry heavyweights like Charles Schwab, the professionals at Clear Financial Strategies will customize a plan that includes the features that best fit your goals, including personal financial planning and all mobile-friendly. Your plan will be managed in a fiduciary-compliant process that puts the day-to-day burden on the shoulders of the professionals at Clear Financial Strategies. We also offer a low-cost, no transaction fee HSA plan that can mirror your 401k, permitting investments with the first contribution. All this, plus financial wellness and personal advice to help assure retirement readiness. Call now, 855-972-9564. That's 855-972-9564, or go to my401krisks.com.
Balance of Nature's fruit and veggie capsules contain 100% fine-ripened fruits and vegetables, tested pure with no pesticides, fillers, or additives of any kind, and are the most effective whole food supplements on the market today. Fruits and vegetables are on an average 85% water. Balance of Nature uses cold vacuum technology to remove the water, leaving only the whole food. We don't use any heat, air, or light drying methods that damage nutrients. Our cold vacuum technology maintains 99% of the fresh fruits and vegetables' original nutritional value. Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Call or go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you our best pricing and free shipping. And we will take an additional 35% off of your first order. This will be a limited time offer, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560.
The Answer. Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Yeah, we're going to have to update that.
Uh-oh.
It's not single. That is an anachronism. It's an insult. Self-partnered. Self-partnered is the term. And I got that from no less an authority than Emma Watson, who told the Hollywood press that she calls herself self-partnered rather than single as she approaches her 30th birthday.
Self-partner?
Self-partnered.
Well, we used to be called spinsters. Remember that? I remember applying for a mortgage, and I had to check off the box spinster. Because if you're over 30 years old and single, that's what you were used to be called back in the day. But now we're self-partner.
Self-partnered. That's the terminology. All right. So don't say Dan Proft is single. You say he's self-partnered. Be a little bit more sensitive.
Well, as you continue your search for your soulmate, Dan, I want to introduce you to Kat Lyons, 31 years old. She's from Colorado. And she's already demonstrated that she's not afraid of commitment. She's committed to being a cat, like actually being a feline.
I have always been different. I just always had a fascination with cats. People are like, oh, you're not really a cat. I'm like, I feel like I really am, though. I am a cat.
Don't worry about her wandering off, Dan.
The tail is challenging sometimes, especially the heavier the tail, the more materials on the tail, the heavier it's going to be. I have my whole cat outfit on, so I'm ready for the day now.
And she has different leashes just in case you want to take a cat for a walk.
I behave most of the time, so I don't need the leash a lot of the times, but it's also fun to just play around and have him hold the other end and pull on it when it's on my collar.
Maybe she could become a feral cat and kill rats and live in my backyard and possibly sleep in my minivan sometimes.
I like what I've heard so far. Yeah, sure.
She's 31, right in your wheelhouse.
Let's grab a cup of coffee. And, for her, a saucer of milk.
And I know she does go to the bathroom in the litter box because she's a real cat. Yeah, another reason why Dan Proft is self-partnered.
Another reason why I'm putting the sing and single.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Chuck DeVore, president of a VP of Initiatives for the Texas Public Policy Foundation. He's a former California legislator. We're going to talk to him about why California can't keep the power on at 6:36.
And what should we do? How can we fight back? 3 American mothers and 6 of their children killed brutally in Mexico. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Lakeshore flood advisory goes into effect this evening as high winds will bring waves up on Lakeshore Drive. Chicago's top cop expected to announce his retirement this week. It's the Tribune reporting Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson will announce he's stepping down. At the same time, the city inspector general is ramping up an investigation into Johnson. Meantime, several broadcast outlets are reporting 2 possible internal candidates to replace Johnson are in the works, including Melissa Staples, the current chief of detectives, and Chief Barbara West, who heads up the Bureau of Organizational Development. Democrats are claiming victory in Kentucky and Virginia after Tuesday's elections. Democrat Andy Beshear is claiming victory in the governor's race, but only leads Republican incumbent Matt Bevin by a few thousand votes. Tate Reeves, is the projected winner of the Mississippi governor's race.
But it has been a good road. And I want you to know that I understand that this victory does not belong to me. This victory belongs to you.
Reeves cruised to an easy victory over favored Democrat Attorney General Jim Hood. A suspect is under arrest in connection with the murders of a Mormon family in Mexico. Several high-ranking officials in the Trump administration are being called to testify in the Democrat-led impeachment inquiry today, including Energy Secretary Rick Perry. Search is underway this morning for a missing airman in Florida. Coast Guard says the unidentified Air Force staffer fell 1,500 feet into the Gulf yesterday from a C-130 plane during a jump training exercise. We're watching Wall Street this morning as Deerfield-based international drugstore chain Walgreens is exploring going private. The attorney for the families involved in a racial incident last month at a Buffalo Wild Wings is calling on the restaurant to take more action. Ken Lambert says the sports bar chain can show other corporations how to stand up. Families claim they were asked to move to a new table because another customer didn't want to be seated near black people.
I know what's going on. I've been informed by your staff that this man is racist. This couple, not just this man, this couple was racist, are racist. And I will refuse to move because of the color of my skin.
Marcus Riley says he talked with the manager after it happened. Lakers over the Bulls, 118-112. Sharks beat the Blackhawks 4-2. College hoops opening up last night. Illinois, a 78-70 win over Nicholls State. DePaul, UIC, and Loyola with wins. The news service of Staples Print and Marketing Services helps your business turn big ideas into bigger ideas. Now when you make a print and marketing services purchase, you get 20% off your next order. In-store only. Offer ends 11/9/19. Exclusions apply. See staples.com/print20 for details. Staples. 6:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity sees shady business in Washington.
What they're doing here is their little secret Soviet-style impeachment coup attempt. This is not how this process works. This kangaroo court, this is not a legitimate process. This inquiry is constitutionally invalid.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Rick Blavelone, second-generation owner and CEO of Marketing Innovators and a customer of Signature Bank. Our family-run company was founded on the belief that connecting to people on a human level is the best way to build a great business. And when we were looking for a new bank, we didn't have to look far. We shared an office building with Signature Bank in Rosemont and quickly saw that they were truly locally owned and operated. That's why we partnered with Signature. And that relationship makes every business decision better and every communication clearer. Marketing Innovators looks forward to a long-lasting relationship with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Want your home's furnace to stay safe and reliable? And want to prevent any potential problems before they happen? At your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, we recommend an annual furnace inspection and tune-up. Right now, get big savings on a furnace tune-up. Call 855-1-HOUR. Because not taking care of your furnace, that's just cold.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. Patriot Software provides American businesses with easy, cloud-based, premium accounting software and full-service payroll for up to 100 employees. Business owners love the simplicity, the price, and our U.S.-based support. And accountants love the powerful capabilities. Check out our nearly perfect 5 out of 5-star ratings.
Keep your time and money.
A lost dog, not a lost cause. Read Catching Murphy, the latest book from the Associated Press, available now exclusively at Amazon.com.
6:36 a.m. 560 traffic center time, and Jim Telemonte.
In Kenosha County, northbound or westbound 94 is closed. Highway 142 to Highway 20 with a crash at Highway 11. Traffic can get around this on the frontage roads. Seeing heavy delays on the inbound Stevenson this morning. It's slow going from 355 to 83. First Avenue to Pulaski, it is an hour and 10 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 36 minutes. Eden's 21 minutes, Lake Hook to the junction. Kennedy 31 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 25. Eisenhower 45 minutes, 390 to the circle. The Ryan 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57 21 minutes, siding to the merge. Bishopport 37 after a crash near Cottage Grove. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Chilly day ahead, snow shower this morning, followed by a little more snow this afternoon possible. That could turn to rain with a high of 48. Currently, 35. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Retire Chicago. Tune in Saturday mornings at 8 to Retire Chicago with John McNamara of McNamara Capital.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, as we're talking about Illinois, the meth lab of the 50 laboratories of democracy in this country. California, in some respects, is better, and in some respects is substantially worse. Like they're reverting back to the dark ages, for example, would be one way they're worse at present. I mean, the rolling blackouts, 1.5 million Californians without power.
That's a big deal. I mean, imagine if that happened here. Why even bother? You're a customer. You should demand service, and that's a dangerous situation.
Why is this happening? Well, to help us get a handle on that, we're pleased to be joined by Chuck DeVore. He's the Vice President of National Initiatives at the Texas Public Policy Foundation, and if this isn't a commentary in and itself, a former California legislator. He has written on the topic. Chuck, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hey, great to be with you this morning.
I mean, I guess there's no more biting commentary than former California legislator now in Texas, but that tells you a lot about what's been going on in California, I suppose. But the PG&E and Gavin Newsom's effort to put this all on the power company who is really to blame for the power crisis going on in California?
Well, this is the result of a little more than a decade of public policy. So this is regulators and elected officials telling these very heavily regulated public utilities. There's three big ones: PG&E, Southern Cal Edison, and San Diego Gas and Electric in the South. They've told them, look, you need to have a lot more renewable power. We want you to make a lot more wind power, a lot more solar power. And these companies only get paid for what they're authorized to charge the ratepayers. In other words, they're not like a regular company, right? Everything they get paid for, they have to ask permission. And so what we've seen is they make a lot of money on the wind and solar. They don't really make much money at all on power line maintenance and upgrades. In fact, a few years back, about 5 years ago, PG&E asked for $4.84 billion for power lines. A so-called consumer rights group fought them tooth and nail, and eventually they were granted a little less than half of that. So you wonder if they got what they asked for, maybe we wouldn't have had these fires that led to these preventative blackouts. And that's a whole different story, by the way.
Well, then Gavin Newsom, though, he believes this climate change is what's driving these deadly fires.
Right, so that's like the all-purpose excuse that is supposed to absolve the politician of any connection or responsibility with what's going on, right? I mean, it's like the dog ate my homework. And so here's the challenge, is that whether it's climate change or not, the solution to prevent the death and destruction is the same, which is start managing those dang forests. In Northern California, you have very extensive forest land that people tend to live in and among. A little more than half of that is managed by the federal government. A little less than half of that is managed by the state government and regulators. And so what you've seen over the last 20 years, ever since the spotted owl really became a big deal in the early 90s, is that the timber harvest has collapsed, especially on the federal lands. And as it's collapsed, you've had this huge buildup in fuel. You know, that funny thing happens. Every year the trees grow. And if you don't get in there and clear the underbrush and clear some of the higher tree density that is healthy, what's been happening is the trees have been dying off. California is prone to drought. It has nothing to do with global warming. It's just California. It's a Mediterranean climate. And as these trees are in higher density, they get stressed and they start to die off, and the bark beetles get in there and start to attack the trees. And then the environmentalists don't let you harvest the dead trees. They have to stay standing because, you know, that's natural. So you have these useless matchsticks all over the state that very quickly lose any economic value as they just, you know, stay upright. Eventually they fall over. And so Newsom is a little better than Jerry Brown. Jerry Brown really resisted a lot of these measures, only signed a couple of half measures into law in his last few months in office. Newsom at least seems to understand the problem when he thinks only Californians are listening. But when he's posturing for a national audience or attacking the president, he'll talk about global warming. But he did sign, I think it was 22 measures into law this last legislative session that should improve the process of clearing those forests. I think it's too little too late. We'll see. But at least he's taking baby steps in the right direction.
So interestingly, on that point, President Trump was right when he spoke out against the land management in California last year, and has been backed up by reports from organizations like the Little Hoover Commission suggesting the same thing, and that's sort of what you're describing as well. But the other point, though, too, I mean, just for those not familiar with the details, Californians are paying 50% more than the national average for power as it stands, including those 2 million people going without power.
Well, that's right, because you know, these policies have consequences, and when you have more of your grid powered by intermittent wind and solar, what eventually starts to happen is you have to pay more for the fossil fuel plants for the smaller amounts of time that they get to be used. And what's beginning to happen is California's higher costs are also being exported to the rest of the Western Interconnect, which is, roughly speaking, the western part of the United States, excluding Texas. So that's a problem as well that's going to only grow and get worse. But the other challenge as well is in Southern California, you have what's known as the coastal chaparral, and that's really brush that's not particularly valuable in and of itself, but it grows and burns as well. It's part of its natural cycle. It needs to burn about every 20, 30 years. And what's been happening in the south and in the north, but particularly in the south, is when the fire marshals request permission to do a preventative burn, the air quality districts say, no, you can't do that. That might irritate some people's lungs, and then the environmental groups sue and say, well, a man-caused burn would be unnatural, and there's certain species in there. And so, again, what happens is the fuel load builds up, and then you get these fires, sometimes sparked by power lines, sometimes sparked by arson, sometimes sparked by, a car that's malfunctioned, and, the catalytic converter will start a fire. But however it starts, the fires are terribly bad because, again, we have not been clearing that brush. We have not been doing the preventative burns. And a lot of homeowners simply ignore admonitions to clear defensible space around their house. They like the way the trees and brush looks, and as a result, on a hot, dry day, their house ends up getting burned down.
And the response in part to this, what I think, fairly described as a crisis, is a series of new ballot initiatives for the November 2020 ballot in California. James Freeman writing about this in Wall Street Journal, including things like requiring manufacturers to make all plastic packaging and single-use foodware items recyclable or compostable by 2030, prohibiting food vendors from using styrofoam and other plastic foam takeout containers, and so on and so forth. So they're missing the forest for the trees, so to speak, aren't they, Chuck?
I see what you did there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's why you're on radio, man.
Yeah, right.
So yes, exactly. And so what you're going to see is there won't be any change at all. Now, here's the other challenge, right, is the politicians keep saying it's climate change. Let's talk about that for a moment and say, okay, you're 100% right. California is already a very energy-efficient state, partially, in fact, largely because of its nice climate. People just don't have to use their air conditioning or the heating much there. That's one of the reasons why people move there. So if you look at China, 7 months worth of economic growth in China, if you can believe their own growth projections, which are dubious, they are communists, 7 months worth of growth in China would wipe out the entire state of California. In other words, if you could just eliminate California tomorrow, it would be made up for by 7 months worth of economic growth in China as far as CO2 emissions. Now, here's why that's a problem. California used to make a lot of stuff. It makes less stuff. Where do they get the stuff they want? Well, they get it from China, maybe some from Texas. How do you get it there? Oh, you have to emit carbon dioxide to ship it there by airplane or boat. So is the planet really having less carbon dioxide emitted because of California's policies? I'd argue no. And in fact, there's a new study that was commissioned by the legislature in 2010 that shows that in the federal forests, the federally managed forests in California, those are now net CO2 positive because of all the fires that are going on. In fact, last year in California, the fires emitted about 10% of the state's CO2 emissions. Now, those aren't counted, right? When the bureaucrats count up the CO2 emissions to pat themselves on the back for the great job California's done, they don't include that 10%, the 45 million metric tons of CO2 from last year's fires.
All right. I love the article you wrote for foxbusiness.com. I was just reading it about why you left California for Texas and you have no regrets. What is life like in Texas with low taxes and a state that has a balanced budget?
Well, now you better be careful because some of your listeners are going to be following me down here. They're going to head south from Chicago and they're going to move down with me.
That's going to happen
regardless.
I
mean, they love freedom. They love freedom. They're friendly. You have government less likely to tell you what to do. And so as a result, heck, I have a lot of neighbors down here that have moved over from California, including a few that I used to represent in the legislature, which is kind of odd. It's like, hey, don't I know you? so it's pretty amazing.
Chuck, leave a light on for us in Texas, will you? Chuck DeVore.
Yeah, and we'll have lights too.
Exactly, Chuck DeVore, because you're able to. Chuck DeVore is the Vice President of National Initiatives at the Texas Public Policy Foundation. former California legislator. Check out his piece in the Federalist on the California power crisis. I'll tweet that out as well. Chuck, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Lou Dobbs. President Trump blasts Nancy Pelosi's prescription drug plan. Prada makes its own Green New Deal, and Walgreens shares jump on reports it could go private. Those stories next.
The annual enrollment for Medicare is coming soon, so we're here at Health Markets, a free service to help make sure you have the right Medicare plan. Mike, there's a lot going on here.
There sure is. Health Markets has invented the Fit Score to instantly compare thousands of Medicare plans from national insurance companies. In minutes, folks can find out if their current plan is the right fit or if there's another plan that can provide extra coverage and help save money. Best of all, the service is free.
So what Medicare benefits could people be missing out on?
A lot. Plans with $0 copays, $0 deductibles, and $0 premiums. Plans that include dental and vision coverage, or diabetic supplies, hearing aids, and more at no additional cost. With so many choices, our advice is don't go it alone when there's a free, unbiased service that can help.
Go to healthmarkets.com or call 800-730-1372. That's 800-730-1372. 800-730-1372.
President Trump says Nancy Pelosi's plan to authorize Medicare to negotiate prescription drug prices is simply unworkable. The White House instead supports bipartisan legislation working its way through the Senate. White House officials say they aren't seriously considering Pelosi's plan because it has so many flaws it can't be fixed in any reasonable amount of time. Walgreens shares up 7% on reports the company may be going private. Fashion group Prada has signed the industry's first business loan, linking annual interest rates to practices that help the environment. Prada says it must operate in green buildings and create educational workshops for employees on recycling in order to keep its $55 million loan at lower interest rates. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Hey, if you own a business and are planning for 2020, listen to this important message. A big change is coming to Windows that will directly impact your networking system. Windows 7 is expiring in mid-January, and Microsoft will stop releasing updates and patches for this version. Now, without those updates, your network security will be compromised. Windows 10 is the required operating system to keep your network secure. So Turnkey IT can help keep your business's information, employee information, and customer information safe with a free security audit, which normally is $600. Heck, they'll even recommend a complete strategy that offers protection for your company's data and network. So let the pros at Turnkey IT help you start the year out right with the ultimate security protection and a network upgrade. You've heard the Turnkey IT name for a long time here on AM 560, and they're just like you, a locally owned business that understands the needs of other local businesses. In fact, Turnkey IT specializes in networking and working with businesses that employ 5 to 200 employees. So leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on what's important. Visit turnkey.pro today. That's turnkey.pro.
Balance of Nature's fruit and veggie capsules contain 100% fine ripened fruits and vegetables, tested pure with no pesticides, fillers, or additives of any kind, and are the most effective whole food supplements on the market today. Fruits and vegetables are on an average 85% water. Balance of Nature uses cold vacuum technology to remove the water, leaving only the whole food. We don't use any heat, air, or light drying methods that damage nutrients. Our cold vacuum technology maintains 99% of the fresh fruits and vegetables' original nutritional value. Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Call or go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you our best pricing and free shipping. And we will take an additional 35% off of your first order. This will be a limited time offer, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
Famous conservative quotes presented by Automated Systems.
Winston Churchill wisely said, "The positive thinker sees the invisible, feels the intangible, and achieves the impossible." What great advice for us all.
Manufacturing companies, I encourage you to call my friend Laz Kulchar from Automated Systems. Automated Systems is a software and systems integration company that specializes in companies that are required to meet FDA compliance requirements. Automated Systems will create a custom solution for your business that will make your production lines, facilities, and plants run more efficiently. Imagine less downtime, more speed, and fewer rejects. From Fortune 500 to startup, ASI delivers solutions for your toughest automation challenges. For information, I encourage you to talk to Laz at Automated Systems. Call 844-HIRE-ASI or visit hireasi.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI, 844-HIRE-ASI, or online at hireasi.com.
Message and data rates may apply.
Help! Seriously, I am too young for hair loss.
My hairline keeps creeping back. Receding?
I got this bald spot.
Oh, it's thinning everywhere.
I'm gonna have to give up and shave it.
Dude, put down the razor, because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration expert, is about to give you your real hair back permanently. Don't ignore the signs of hair loss. Bosley is giving away an absolutely free information kit that reveals all the signs, and a free gift card to anyone who texts SECRET to 85850. Bosley will show you for free how great your hair could look. Using the latest technology, Bosley's solution to hair loss is permanent and protected by the Bosley Guarantee. Plus, since Bosley has new non-surgical options, you owe it to yourself to text now for an absolutely free information kit and a gift card for $250 off, no matter what level of hair loss you have. Text SECRET 850. That's SECR.
AM 560. The Answer.
Cause they got the beat, the campus beat, the campus beat. Yeah, the campus beat.
Yeah, it takes us to Weber State University. Amy, Weber State,
Weber State.
Yeah, Ogden, Utah.
Water buffalo?
Wildcats.
Oh, how boring.
I know, it's
so
boring.
Is
Especially
this
for
a
Big
D2,
Sky.
D3?
No,
What
Big
school?
Sky. Big Sky Conference, D1.
Really? What is it called again? Weber?
Weber State. Yeah, they actually have a pretty good basketball program. They have a terrible debate program, and that apparently is largely the responsibility of Ryan Wash. Weber State student Michael Moreno recording hours of his experience with this debate coach, Mr. Wash, who, among other things, challenges the notion that outer space is real. It's not real. It's only...
Outer space isn't real.
Rod Serling. It's a construct of white people fantasies. Yeah.
So if a black guy...
I just experienced them accounting their accounts, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't reserve a healthy amount of skepticism.
I mean, they could be lying, yeah.
Oh, so you're saying that I'm lying too?
No,
Or are you saying Wikipedia's lying? Or
No, I'm saying he could
black
be lying.
astronauts
Like the black astronauts could be lying, that's true.
Correct.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, but...
And just because they're black doesn't mean that they don't participate in whiteness.
What do you mean?
Okay, we can have more reading about this, but whiteness is not a racial concept that is about the epidermal. It's more so about a particular set of ideologies that works to securitize life for white people, and black people are definitely participants in.
I'm not denying that black people
Okay.
engage. I'm saying the claim that space does not exist because you haven't seen it.
Correct.
Like that's like saying like Paris doesn't exist because I've never been there.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So.
Correct.
So I can't use other people's experiences as proof that it probably does exist?
And that's what we call colonialism.
What?
Colonialism.
Using other people's experience. I don't even know what that verbiage means. What does it mean to
like
What
trust?
does it mean to extract someone's experience and use it for justification for your own political?
Okay,
agenda?
well, it's like, how do I know that slavery happened if I didn't see it, right? Because we have history. Can I just say slavery never happened?
It's called post-traumatic slave disorder.
Yeah. Well, I've never experienced that, so
Awesome.
it doesn't exist
Great.
then?
You can say that it didn't. I mean, a lot of your people say that it didn't. So
Right. Yeah,
It's not
and
anything
it's like...
new. It's not anything contrary.
Yeah.
My argument is that black people should have an inroad into that experiential because white people's experience determines the rest of the world. That's just the uniqueness argument.
Yeah, but it's not just white people. There's black people who have experiences going to space. There's like
Correct.
Neil deGrasse Tyson who
Whiteness
talks
as
about
a structure definitely rules the world. That's our uniqueness argument. The app would blacken our understanding of that by reserving the option that those things are unreal and are used as myths to securitize other people.
So are they like being hypnotized, like the black people? Are they like being brainwashed by whiteness to think they're in space? Or I guess I'm just not understanding.
Everybody's brainwashed by whiteness?
Everybody's brainwashed by whiteness, you see. Some things don't need comment. They just need restatement. This is one of those things.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to former speechwriter for General Mattis at 7:07.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Mike Scott.
A man accused of stabbing a girlfriend to death and the top cop to retire. WIND, Chicago News Time 7.
An arrest made in Mexico. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. A day after the massacre that left 9 Americans dead. Leif Langford, a victim of the women and kids murder, just told Fox after the initial gunshots.
We now know they came up to the vehicle, shot more shots, raided the vehicle, and then incinerated it, set it ablaze, and burned everybody alive.
A drug cartel being blamed. 8 children survived. Someone had to walk for miles. Several are hospitalized in Arizona. Kentucky's governor is not ready to give up his job yet.
We are not conceding this race by any stretch.
Matt Bevin, who's trailing by more than 5,000 votes, says he wants to let the process play out. Democrat Andy Beshear already declared victory.
This election is over.
Now, President Trump, who rallied for the Republican governor Monday night, says he helped Bevin make up a 15, maybe 20-point deficit. The president also congratulated Tate Reeves, the Republican who won the Mississippi governor's race. But in Virginia, Democrats won control of the state legislature. The White House is dismissing the revised testimony from U.S. Ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland, that he believes military aid to Ukraine was held up initially to get an investigation into the Bidens.
He is just presuming that the aid was linked to something and then admitted he didn't even know why he was presuming it.
Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham insists President Trump did nothing wrong. There'll be more testimony this morning. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs David Hale is expected to go before the committees conducting the impeachment inquiry behind closed doors. But Energy Secretary Rick Perry, Acting White House Budget Office Director Russell Vought, and State Department Counselor Ulrich Breckbuhl are not expected to show up. This as the White House signals Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney will not appear for an interview this week as they call the inquiry a ridiculous, partisan, illegitimate proceeding. Democrats say the no-shows are evidence of obstruction. Dave?
America's listening to Fox News.
35 degrees. We've had some snow flurries this morning. It's 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago's police superintendent is expected to announce his retirement this week. Meantime, several broadcast reports say 2 possible internal candidates to replace Superintendent Eddie Johnson include Melissa Staples, the current chief of detectives, and Chief Barbara West, who heads up the Bureau of Organizational Development. Deerfield-based international drugstore chain Walgreens is exploring going private, what could mark the largest leverage buyout in history. People familiar with that situation commenting to CNBC. A man accused of shooting a 53-year-old Northwest Indiana woman in front of her granddaughter has been tracked down in Missouri by U.S. Marshals. Charles Goforth was captured at an Independence, Missouri residence. Hammond, Indiana police had contacted a regional fugitive task force, suspecting he had fled the area. Election night in Northwest Indiana, big loss for Democrats as Mayor Ron Meir of Michigan City lost his bid for re-election in the aftermath of a tumultuous week that included felony charges being filed against him. With all precincts reporting, Republican candidate Dwayne Parry's 29.9% of the vote was enough to secure the win. Attorney for the families involved in a racial incident last month at a Naperville Buffalo Wild Wings is calling on the restaurant to take more action. Ken Lambert says the chain can show other corporations how to stand up.
They have an opportunity to be trailblazers right now, where they can show other corporate community participants what it is to stand up to racism.
2 managers have been fired, the customer banned for life. Lakers rally past the Bulls, 118-112 last night. Sharks over the Blackhawks, 4-2 in San Jose. The news, a service of Staples Print and Marketing Services, helping your business turn big ideas into bigger ideas. Now when you make a print and marketing services purchase, you get 20% off your next order. In-store only. Offer ends 11/9/19. Exclusions apply. See staples.com/print20 for details. Staples. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The mainstream media wants to divide Americans into neat little groups, and they want you to believe that everyone in each of those groups thinks alike. John Anthony and Charles Love are here to blow up that lie. Join them for Black and Right this Saturday at 1 p.m. when they expose the lies of the media and the hypocrisy of the left and have fun doing it. It's Black and Right this Saturday at 1 p.m. right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. Patriot Software provides American businesses with easy, cloud-based, premium accounting software and full-service payroll for up to 100 employees. Business owners love the simplicity, the price, and our U.S.-based support. And accountants love the powerful capabilities. Check out our nearly perfect 5 out of 5-star ratings.
Keep your time and money.
I'm Dr. Jeff Gooden, and I treat pain with Salonpas. That's because practicing good medicine is my responsibility as a doctor. For back or joint pain, I agree with CDC guidance that recommends using topical pain relievers first, like Salonpas Patch Large. Salonpas is powerful, FDA-approved to relieve debilitating moderate pain, yet non-addictive and gentle on the body. Look for the green Salonpas box in the pain relief aisle. Salonpas. It's good medicine.
You've heard of living trusts and how they can help protect your assets, but you may not know if a living trust is right for you, or maybe you have questions about creating your own living trust. The fact is, almost everyone can benefit from a living trust, which can protect your assets from the court system and your loved ones from unnecessary expense and inconvenience. Learn more at a free seminar Thursday, November 7th at Papa Joe's Restaurant in Orland Park. Estate planning attorney Robert Zapolis will explain how to create your own living trust, estate planning under the new tax laws, why a will does not avoid probate, and more. Have your estate planning and living trust questions answered absolutely free. Don't miss this important seminar, Thursday evening, November 7th at 6:30 at Papa Joe's Restaurant, 145th and LaGrange Road in Orland Park. The seminar is free and a complimentary dinner is served, but you must make a reservation now. Call 708-478-1400. Call 708-478-1400. Again, 708-478-1400.
At Panera, get breakfast that's fast, not fast food. Try a new Chipotle chicken scrambled egg and avocado breakfast wrap and pair it with a premium freshly ground, freshly brewed coffee. All ready to go with the push of a button. Panera, food as it should be.
7:07 in the AM 560 Traffic Center, and here is Jim Talamonte.
The inbound Stevenson is especially heavy this morning with delays from 355 to 83 and First Avenue to Pulaski. It is an hour and 10 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 54 minutes from the Tri-State. Eden's 23 minutes, Lake Cook Junction. Kennedy, 40 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, a little quicker than the Express. Eisenhower, 48 minutes, 390 to downtown, 32 from Mannheim. Ryan runs 23 minutes from 95th to downtown. I-57, 21 minutes, 90 to the Merge Bishop, 437. Northbound Tri-State delays are from 115th and Ridgeland to 47th. That's from the Reagan Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. Reagan Tollway delays, the Aurora Toll to Wiola and 22nd of Roosevelt. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Cloudy skies. It'll be chilly today. A couple of snow showers around this morning. That'll be followed by some rain in spots this afternoon. High 48. Cloudy, breezy, and cold. Snow showers tonight. Low 27. Partly sunny, breezy, cold day tomorrow. The high 34. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
35. We've had some snow flurries at O'Hare. 36 Lakefront. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Don't miss the ammo event this weekend at Shoot Point Blank. Pick up great deals on ammo, like 50 rounds of 9mm as low as $10.99 per box. The more ammo you buy, the more you save. Load up this weekend at Shoot Point Blank's ammo event. See store for details.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. A few weeks back, on the occasion of the promoting his book, Call Sign Chaos, I believe was the name of it, General James Mattis did a sit-down with CBS Sunday Morning for an interview with David Martin. Had this to say about his reason for resigning as Secretary of Defense.
You resigned the day after the president announced that the U.S. was pulling all its troops out of Syria.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Did that decision have anything to do with your...
Absolutely it did.
But what about the decision to withdraw from Syria?
I disagree with it.
Because?
Because we need to maintain enough influence there that we don't see the same thing that happened when we withdrew from Iraq.
Mattis, despite much prodding and cajoling, would, however, not break bad on the president.
I will not speak ill of a sitting president. I'm not going to do it.
But he will say this.
He's an unusual president, our president is, and I think that especially with just the rabid nature of politics today, we got to be careful. We could tear this country apart.
For more on the general's commentary, I'm pleased to be joined by Guy Snodgrass, who's a retired American naval aviator, Top Gun graduate and instructor, and he was a former chief speechwriter to the aforesaid Secretary James Mattis. He has a book, Holding the Line Inside Trump's Pentagon with Secretary Mattis. Guy, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. And so the remarks that General Mattis gave a few weeks back about some policy disagreements with the president, most notably the Syrian withdrawal, and his concerns about our politics, are those, particularly the latter one, concern about the nature of our politics and having to operate in advance of America's national security in that environment. Was that a topic of conversation a lot between you and the general?
You know, it's something we always kept our eyes on. One thing that the general was adamant about was that those of us in the Department of Defense, we serve at the pleasure of the president. And so we had to make sure, as he would say, that there was not 1 inch of daylight between what the White House was saying and what we at the Pentagon were saying. And that's one of the reasons why whenever I approached my own book, Holding the Line, I wanted to take that apolitical approach. There's a lot in the book for your listeners to enjoy. As Secretary Mattis points out, President Trump is a non-traditional politician, but people elected him into office to come in and shake things up. And they're going to get a chance to see behind the scenes how he does that.
Well, what do our allies around the world really think of President Trump's administration?
I think the concern for allies around the world is simply that traditionally you have this back-channel diplomacy. Everyone understands that as a politician, President Trump needs to communicate effectively not only with his base, but with all Americans. And to do so, he uses rallies, he uses campaign events, and he'll use, as we all know, Twitter to send out announcements. Typically, in years past, you could do that, but you're working furiously behind the scenes in order to get everything aligned and set and ready to go so that you don't catch your own administration, let alone your allies and partners, off guard. And that is one area that I feel that there could be some improvement. And what I highlight in the book is that whether it's our allies and partners in Europe or in Indo-Pacific, in the Middle East, you know, countries we've fought alongside for decades, we could be doing a better job of making sure that they're not caught off guard by these announcements.
It was sort of thinking back at the beginning of the administration and people remarking upon how many generals were members of President Trump's cabinet. And then, of course, you also had General Kelly serve as his chief of staff, all these generals. And then people sort of concerned, are there too many generals? Well, there's not too many generals now. And I wonder if part of that is just a culture clash. What you're describing, how the president operates, what we all understand from his very public persona, and military culture. It's just it's a bit of oil and water, isn't it?
You know, it is different. And I had a really telling conversation with a former congresswoman from South Carolina shortly after I left Mattis's office and right after I had retired from my 2 decades of naval service. And she kind of chuckled when I was sharing with her some of the behind-the-scenes experiences I've had. And she said, oh, my gosh, you know, if you think about your experience as a naval officer, for 2 decades, your job was to build the best team you could. You did that by maximizing everyone's strengths. And just by the nature of politics, It's basically the reverse. You want to understand what your adversary's weaknesses are so that you can exert leverage to get the policies through that will represent your constituents. And I thought that that was a very telling difference. I think that the good part of having, whether it's generals or others who have served in uniform before, I mean, you're going to get their straightforward, honest advice and counsel. But as we all know, at the end of the day, it's President Trump's decision to make. And once he's made that decision, everyone needs to step in the line.
Is he been unfairly criticized for his antagonism towards the intelligence community? And it's usually specific people. It's not the law enforcement or the Pentagon or CIA specifically. But it was interesting what Mike Pompeo had to say recently at an appearance at the Hudson Institute. He said when he first took the helm at CIA, "I'll never forget what President Trump was focused on. Literally less than 24 hours after he had been sworn in, he was sitting with me and the senior counterterrorism team at the CIA, and he told me three things. He said, I'm going to give you everything you need to do. I'm going to give you the authorities you need to conduct the campaign in a way that will keep Americans safe. And I want to make sure that we destroy the caliphate. I want you to get the guy who's the leader of ISIS. And we worked for 2.5 years. The team was fantastic," said Pompeo. I mean, is that your experience, or is that consistent with how Trump sort of gives you top line authority and you fill in the blanks as experts in your fields, and I'll be there to back your play? Is that your experience, what Pompeo's describing?
You know, I think in many circumstances it was. In the book, I spend an entire chapter talking about our military campaign to, as you just stated, defeat the physical caliphate for ISIS. Of course, this is a terrorist group that has wreaked havoc around the world. And President Trump turned to Secretary Mattis and said, "You've got it. Whatever you need, the resources you need for the military, the authorities that the military commanders need in the field, we don't want to simply defeat ISIS. We want to annihilate ISIS, because we don't want those terrorists to then go out and, of course, wreak even more havoc in the future. We want this defeated now." And so I think that there were a lot of great examples in the book of where President Trump gave the authorities that were needed to make that happen. One thing I will step back to, though, and you highlighted this in the clip you played at the beginning of our conversation with Secretary Mattis, and that is sometimes in this hot political environment where there's so much rhetoric being tossed about, organizations like the U.S. military or the intelligence community can kind of get drug into those partisan fights. And I think there is some danger there when you start to politicize traditionally apolitical institutions, because that erosion of trust and confidence with the American public can have a lasting effect. So you might use it 1 week, 1 month to kind of beat some people up, but that impact could last for years. And I think that's something that we should be mindful of.
And did you mention in your book how and why Mattis decided to resign?
Yes, I sure do. As the clip you played hints at, he says that he resigned solely because of the president's announced withdrawal from Syria at the end of last year. What I do is I bring the readers in behind the scenes where in the summer of 2018, almost 6 months before he resigned, he had, in this case, Secretary Mattis had met with General John Kelly and said that, look, I need to leave. Too many policy differences. I'm not being effective. And so General Kelly was going to remain as chief of staff and Secretary Mattis was going to depart. So I bring the reader in, not just for that scene, but for the first time that President Trump came to the Pentagon, and your listeners get a chance to see what he's like behind closed doors, how he leads America's military. And the same thing when he came back again about 6 months later, and we were discussing with the president issues about our nuclear weapons and our security around the world.
What's your estimation of General Mattis? Tell us who General Mattis is, what kind of man he is.
The thing that I've always enjoyed about General Mattis is that, what you see is what you get. In public venues, he's very stoic, meaning he's reserved. He's incredibly laser focused on the task at hand, and he does not want to get caught up in political matters. He spent 43 years as a Marine Corps officer, culminating with being promoted to 4 stars. He ran the entire U.S. Central Command that, of course, controls the majority of the Middle East and even over into Afghanistan. So this is a person who has had a great deal of military responsibility throughout his lifetime and has served his country tirelessly. And I like the fact that behind the scenes, he was very much the same kind of individual. He stayed laser focused on the task at hand. He may have felt at times that the president was not taking his policy recommendations, and that didn't matter. He never threw tantrums. He never disparage the president behind closed door when the president made a decision. He would just say, well, that's the decision. Let's figure out how to implement it to its very best so that the president gets the policy win, but that the military or others also are taken care of as well. I thought that was a really just a service to the American public to see how he balanced his role with the president, the Constitution, and the military members he led.
And I don't know if these are words that you have inculcated into your personal ethos, but I have the Mattisism that you are to be polite, be professional, but have a plan to kill everybody you meet. I think that's an important approach to life. Was that the culture at the Pentagon under Mattis?
Dan, I'm a little concerned that as a radio host, you had to take that on board. It sounds like you're in a very dangerous environment. But, I think that when you think about that quote, what he's really saying is just be prepared. When I grew up as a kid, I grew up in North Texas. I had a great family who just, they care about American values. One of the things my father got me into was Boy Scouts, and I had a chance to become an Eagle Scout. And that is one of the Boy Scout mottos, right, is be prepared. And that's what Secretary Mattis is saying. You can walk into any environment, but no matter whether it's in a combat zone or it's in your own office space, just think about all the different things that can happen and just be prepared for any single one of them. And I also have brought that into my daily life, and I find that no matter really what comes my way, I'm rarely shocked. You typically have a plan for it, and I think that others who have adopted that mindset have fared incredibly well.
I think that it'd be nice to add that to the Boy Scouts. Be prepared to kill everybody you meet. I think that would it would sort of, it's a little bit more realpolitik than maybe the kids are ready for, but I like it. Guy Snodgrass, he's a retired American naval aviator, Top Gun graduate and instructor, former chief speechwriter to Secretary James Mattis, and his book, Holding the Line, Inside Trump's Pentagon with Secretary Mattis. Guy, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck with the book.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Amy. Have a great day.
You too.
Yeah, he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Dan Frio with the Mortgage Update. The Fed did it again and helped push mortgage rates to yet another historic low. So are you holding off refinancing your home because you think rates may go even lower? Well, let me make your decision even easier. Let's refinance you now and take advantage of this opportunity. If rates drop more than 0.5% in the next 24 months, I will refinance you at the lower rate at no closing costs. Other lenders state that they'll refinance you, but watch out for the fine print. So if you have a conventional loan that's over 4.75 or FHA or VA loan over 4.5, you have nothing to lose and thousands to save. So find out how much you can save. Just pick up the phone to call me personally. That's 844-775-LOAN. That's 844-775-LOAN. Or find me on the web at windmortgage.com.
Parkside Lending, LLC is an Illinois residential mortgage licensee and an equal housing lender. NMLS 176162.
Hey, does your basement only leak when it rains? Well, you don't have to live like that. Call Permaseal. I did. They'll come over, give you a free estimate, tell you what work needs to be done. They'll also have no haggle pricing and a price assurance guarantee, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best value. Roy Spencer started Permaseal back in 1979, and guess what? It's still a local Chicagoland family business doing the right thing and standing behind their work. Your basement is already dry most of the time, but if you want your basement dry all of the time, you know who to call. Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-7325, or simply go to permaseal.net.
DS Arms is the factory direct outlet for all major brands of firearms and accessories. And for over 3 decades, they've manufactured custom rifles used by police, military, and you. Purchase your rifle factory direct and support American manufacturing and jobs. DS Arms also has the automatic knives, mags, and optics, plus every accessory you'll need. DS Arms is in Lake Barrington off Route 14 and Pepper Road. DS Arms is much more than a gun store. Visit dsarms.com or call 847-277-7260. That's dsarms.com.
Hey there, beer lovers. Let your freedom be heard. And be sure to spread the good word. If you love freedom, patriotism, and the craft beer revolution, then Gun Craft Beer is the brew for you. You can purchase Gun Craft Beer all over Chicagoland. For a list of locations, visit guncraftbeer.com. And be sure to follow Gun Craft Beer on Facebook and Instagram. So salute the red, white, and brew by enjoying the freedom you can taste with Gun Craft Beer.
Balance of Nature. By taking 6 capsules, you're getting 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies. Now, people, if you have your energy level falling, if your immune system's down, maybe you just want to lose some weight. I've heard of people losing weight by taking Balance of Nature. You can be part of that and take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge. Dr. Howard's the creator of Balance of Nature. The American family lives in Utah. That's what they're doing. They're changing lives one person at a time. Call this number, 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751 to learn more about Dr. Howard's Health Challenge. The holidays are right around the corner. It's time to get healthy, folks. 1-800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago, because if you use discount code Chicago, guess what? 35% and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use discount code Chicago.
AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, and thinking about yesterday's election results, particularly the loss of Matt Bevin in the Kentucky governor's race.
He hasn't conceded yet.
No.
There's 5,000 votes separating the two, and he thinks that he's going to be the victor.
More likely than not that he's not.
Right.
But he wants to pursue a recount. God bless him. That's fine. Should the race have even been that close in a state that Trump won by 30 points, and all the stipulations that the White House and others are providing about the rest of the statewide offices sweeping in Kentucky as well as Mississippi. And the Brashear name, who's the Democrat Attorney General who had run statewide, won statewide. His dad had served as governor just 4 years earlier, so on and so forth. I get it. What about this, though? This is Leon Cooperman. He is a billionaire hedge fund manager. He was on CNBC yesterday talking about what the president has accomplished in terms of the American economy. And also getting emotional about the concern he has for the future of this country and why, and the future of this president and why. Here's Cooperman, first of all, ticking off where we stand under President Trump.
The stock market's at a record high. The economy is growing. I mentioned a moment ago, 5 million more people at work created in his presidency. We have a record high employment, record low unemployment amongst minorities. I've taken a tough path of opening up trade dialogue with China. I focused the discussion on illegal immigration. Okay, I reduced government red tape and promoted deregulation. I bolstered our defense, national defense. His deportment is not presidential, and we need a unifier in that position, and because the country is being torn apart. So let him make his own decision. I am not in favor of all this impeachment inquiry. I want the American people to decide in November of 2020 what the future should be.
So this is somebody who appreciates the policy program that Trump has pursued. You'll hear in the next clip, as he started to get emotional there, he continues to get emotional, and he talks about how he compares it to Reagan, but there's a problem, according to Cooperman.
I mean, I think it's kind of obvious people can not only see the emotion on your face, but hear it in your voice when you talk about this, Lee. Why?
I care. That's it.
But in all that you have said of where the economy is, where the stock market is, the wealth that has been created since the president was inaugurated through the stock market appreciation, you still think it would be a better idea if he did not run for re-election at this particular time?
What I think I said, you're looking to get me into trouble. What I said was, if he was not prepared to change his dialogue and his treatment of people, okay, he could accomplish what he's accomplished by being presidential. And the way I say it is the following, and you're really going to get me into a lot of hot water, okay? But, his program is very analogous to Ronald Reagan, a very beloved president. When Reagan ran for president, he said, I'm going to get the government off the backs of the people. I'm going to do that by reducing regulation and taxes. Ditto for President Trump. He said, I'm going to restore the lost prestige of the United States of America after the Carter years by rebuilding our defense. Ditto for Trump. The third thing Reagan said he couldn't do is not going to balance the budget. He figured out very quickly you couldn't balance the budget. You couldn't balance the budget if you're building defense and lowering taxes. So he said, to hell with the budget. We bankrupted the Soviet Union along the way. The difference is the comedian that made a living mimicking Ronald Reagan in his period of office was Joe Piscopo. Reagan picks up the phone and invites him to the White House for a drink. Okay? President Trump says, Alec Baldwin and Meryl Streep, you have no talent. Saturday Night Live, your ratings suck. You know, it's not presidential. What would it cost him to simply say, I'm sorry you feel the way you feel. I hope you give me the next 4 years to prove you're wrong. And by the way, I enjoy your talent. We need a unifier.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 646-36D8, turnkey.pro text line. Does Leon Cooperman have a point? Not that Trump is ever going to be Reagan, or should be his own man. Don't try and impersonate somebody else. But modulating, picking your spots a little bit more, having more moments of just pure joy, like with the Washington Nationals the other day. Because the Bevin race in Kentucky tells me something else, too. And it's a reminder, because this is not unique to the Bevin race. The marginally engaged voter has proven time and again that he will choose style over his interests. He will choose style over preferred policy positions. It's something to keep in mind. Dan in Libertyville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. Something that I have not heard mentioned is that Mitch McConnell butted heads with Bevin for many years.
Well, yeah, Bevin ran against him.
And so that played a factor as well, I believe.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Dan. I don't know that it played a factor that he was as unpopular as he was going into his reelect, but we'll pick that up with Steve Moore at 7:37.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
36 degrees. Skies are cloudy. We've had some passing snow flurries this morning. Chicago's police superintendent expected to announce his retirement this week. Eddie Johnson is expected to announce he's stepping down at the same time the city inspector general is ramping up an investigation into an incident last month. The U.S. Supreme Court will hear oral arguments today over the Clean Water Act. Case goes before the court centering on a wastewater treatment plant in Hawaii. Political tables have turned in Virginia, where Democrats are now in control of both houses of the Virginia General Assembly. In Kentucky, officials say they are calling a close governor's race for Democrat Andy Beshear, but the attorney general's race in that state goes to a black Republican Daniel Cameron. Republican Tate Reeves is the winner of Mississippi's governor's race.
But it has been a good road. And I want you to know that I understand that this victory does not belong to me. This victory belongs to you.
Reeves cruised to an easy win over Democrat AG Jim Hood. A suspect under arrest connected with the murders of 9 members of a family in Mexico.
The group is part of a Mormon offshoot that settled in Mexico decades ago. The women were traveling in a 3-vehicle convoy, some headed to Arizona, others to visit relatives in Chihuahua when they were ambushed.
The victims have dual U.S. and Mexican citizenship. The FCC giving the go-ahead to the merger between Sprint and T-Mobile with conditions. Regulators released their ruling yesterday. Experts on the merger are skeptical about results being good for consumers. A man accused of shooting a 53-year-old Northwest Indiana woman in front of her granddaughter has been tracked down in Missouri by U.S. Marshals after an interstate manhunt. Charles Goforth was located in Independence, Missouri, Tuesday afternoon. A man who spent nearly 30 years behind bars for a Chicago murder he says he did not commit, suing the city and multiple police officers. Arnold Day filed that federal suit yesterday. Chicago public school officials are proposing how they intend to make up 5 of the 11 school days lost in a teacher's strike, including adding days to the end of the school year and shortening breaks. 2 will be added in June. Thanksgiving vacation shortened by a day, and 2 days will be cut from winter break in January. Lakers rally past the Bulls. Blackhawks fall to San Jose. The news service of Staples, which gives your business more for less. It's where you find the best printers at great prices. Right now, get up to $200 off HP LaserJet Pro 400 series. Staples, for your business. And Tech and Beyond, in-store only, ends 11/16/19. See store or staples.com/HP400 series for details. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees a major victory for our country and the president.
Biggest foreign policy achievement in the Trump administration, arguably. Big day, right? Huge day for the president of the United States and for this country, most of all. Number one terrorist in the world, taken out by our Army Special Forces.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Scoundrels are not exclusive to politics. They're smart enough to occupy necessity service industries like the automotive business. As a real estate broker, my car is a lifeline and a total necessity to my business and my family, which is why I had to seek out an honest, truthful auto service provider. For over the past decade, I've put my trust in Craigies Mobile Service Center on Lake Street in Addison. Craigies handles full auto repair on foreign and domestic vehicles. They pride themselves on providing you the best cost-effective auto repair and expert advice. Craigies has full service bays and truck lifts that can service and manage your whole fleet. They also provide priority service for your business and can track each vehicle, alerting you to the repair before you need it, keeping your guys on the road. Since 1959, Craigies Mobile Service Center has thrived through 10 presidential administrations, giving you reputable, dependable, and honest auto repair. Do yourself a favor. Just go into Craigies on Lake Street in Addison. See my guy Vic. He'll set you up. Tell him Sean from Elmwood Park sent you. I approve of this message.
Hey, it's Mike Gallagher here. You've heard me talk for years about all the problems I have with trying to eat right. I have formed a partnership with an amazing American success story, Seattle Sutton's Healthy Eating. They've been shipping me delicious portion-controlled meals. They're fresh. They're never frozen. Seattle Sutton's Healthy Eating, operated by a wonderful dietitian nutritionist. It's like having my own personal chef. And it's saving me a lot of time shopping and stopping off for food. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Over 90 million meals have been served the past 33 years by Seattle Sutton's Healthy Eating. No gimmicks, no fads, no BS, just delicious, clean, healthy meals shipped directly to your home twice a week. Contact them today and get started. Tell them Mike Gallagher sent you and you'll get a special discount. Call Seattle Sutton's Healthy Eating, 800-442-3438. Call 800-442-3438 or go to seattlesutton.com. That's seattlesutton.com.
A lost dog, not a lost cause. Read Catching Murphy, the latest book from the Associated Press, available now exclusively at Amazon.com.
7:37 in the AM 560 Traffic Center. The latest with Jim Telemonte.
Northbound Tri-State traffic is slow from 115th and Ridgeland to 47th Street, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. Southbound delays are O'Plain to 176 and Duffy to Deerfield. Eastbound Reagan Tollway traffic is heavy from the Aurora Toll to Neola, Washington to Yackley and 22nd of Roosevelt. Northbound Veterans Memorial, Fountain to the Reagan Tollway, from the Army Trail Toll to 290. Southbound 53 is tied up Palatine Road to Kirchhoff. Eden's 23 minutes Lake Cook to the junction. Kennedy, 48 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Eisenhower, an hour and 2 minutes, 390 to the Bird Circle. 43 minutes from Manhunt. Stevenson, an hour and 16 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 25 minutes from 95th. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Chilly day ahead. We've had some morning snow showers. Rain showers could show up this afternoon. High 48. Cloudy, breezy, cold. Couple of snow showers in the forecast overnight. Low 27. 36 right now. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We left off before Mike Scott's newscast, presenting Leon Cooperman, this billionaire hedge fund manager's review of the Trump economy, very positive. Review of Trump's rhetorical stylings, less positive, suggesting he needs to be more Reagan-esque in his verbiage as he is in his economic policy choices.
Yeah, I watched that yesterday.
And
him breaking down and crying, I just gave me great pause.
Against the backdrop of, well, forget the messenger and address the message, particularly against the backdrop of Matt Bevin going down in Kentucky. And there's other trouble spots too. A friend of mine out Pennsylvania way pointing out that in Chester County, which is a suburb of Philly, complete sweep for the Democrats, first time ever. Wow. Cousin worked the polls to support her candidate. Said it was all anti-Trump, huge turnout, blind rage. And I understand the rest of the statewide slate in Kentucky, Republicans swept, and they swept in Mississippi, and we're not to read too much into these things, but there are some hints that suggest, and not to mention polling data, that suggests that, a little modulation, a little bit more of the time would do a lot of good.
Well, I was polled the other day, and they asked, "Did you vote for Trump?" I said yes. Then they asked a list of questions, and the last question was, "How do you feel about President Trump tweeting? A, B, or C?" Saying it's fine. I love the communication style, or I find it appalling. And I said, C. I think it's too much.
Here's the thing, and I don't want to present a false choice. That's what the D.C. press corps does. There's a good piece in the Federalist by a woman named Saritha Prabhu, who is a immigrant. 10 reasons I like Donald Trump from a female former Democrat immigrant. Okay.
Okay.
One of them, by loudly questioning everything in his unorthodox way, he has made us re-examine many things: our bloated bureaucracy, some of our egotistical federal civil servants, so on and so forth. Yes, you can do that, and you can also have more moments of modulation that don't pick targets that, frankly, are beneath him. And so the example Cooperman used with, Reagan invited Joe Piscopo to have a drink with them. Joe Piscopo making his chops on Saturday Night Live, impersonating Reagan. Right. They had a nice moment. Trump, spends time going back and forth with Alec Baldwin or Meryl Streep. Why?
Yeah, why bother?
It's beneath him.
Exactly.
George and Moni, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan, this is exactly why cough syrup comes in cherry and bubblegum flavor now. Because, you're sick, you need the medicine, but you don't like the way it tastes.
All right. Thanks, George. I get the perspective. For another perspective on this, we're pleased to be joined by Steve Moore, economist, Wall Street Journal columnist, and author of Trumponomics, Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Boy, it was a bloodbath for the Republicans in Virginia out here.
Yeah, but that's
really bad day.
no surprise for you. That's a blue state now, isn't it?
It is. It's really, I was thinking there's a few states that have turned, Ohio's turned red, but Virginia has turned blue, and it's now thoroughly blue. For the first time in 100 years, the Democrats control the House, the Senate, and the governorship. But,
well, Ralph,
we have a doofus.
Yeah. Well, Ralph Northam can go back to wearing blackface now, so he's free to do that.
Exactly. But look, I think I was listening to your guys' conversation, and I've been saying this for months and months. In fact, the other night I was actually in the belly of the beast. I was in Madison, Wisconsin, and debating a guy named Max Boot. You guys know him? He's on CNN all the time. He used to be a colleague of mine at the Wall Street Journal on the editorial page, and but he is an example of kind of anti-Trump derangement syndrome. He's kind of repudiated everything he ever believed in because he hates Trump so much. And anyway, I even asked him, I said, Max, would you actually vote for Elizabeth Warren over Donald Trump? And he said yes. But in any case, the point I made throughout this debate, because we were debating Trumpism, I said, look, if this election is very simple. If people vote on Trump in November of next year on the basis of whether they like him, he's going to lose. He's going to lose. If they vote on his record, he's going to win a landslide. The economy is unbelievably strong right now. We have 7.1 million surplus jobs, lowest unemployment rate, lowest inflation rate, lowest mortgage interest rates in 50 years. It's just an incredibly strong economy. The median family income is up $5,000 in 2.5 years under Trump compared to $1,000 under Obama. So, we put the economy on a fast track, but the difference between Trump and Reagan, they both had phenomenal economic records, but people liked Reagan, right? And there's a very 50% of the people at least don't like Trump. They don't like his behavior, and they don't like his tweets. And Amy, I mean, what you said is very indicative, I think, of the way a lot of people feel.
Well, it's also one of these things. Look, when 70% of 330 million people, or the those that are age eligible to vote in 2020, that's a lot of marginally engaged voters. And yeah, there are people that don't like Trump that he should wear as a badge of honor, and that's fine. We agree with those people. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about some of the people like you were debating before in Wisconsin. We're talking about Matt Bevin as the example of somebody who was great on substantive policy, but you clearly had voters in Kentucky say, despite my agreement with his policies, despite my agreement with Trump, despite the record that Bevin put together, I'm voting for Brashear.
Yeah, but look, here's the thing. I mean, I actually think Trump's going to win re-election. I think I'd put the odds at 2 out of 3. Even no matter, they could put the guy in jail. If the economy remains strong, it would be unprecedented for Americans in an economic boom to oust the president. Now, the point I would make about this is that I do, in some ways, Trump is like Obama. I mean, in this sense, Obama every year between 2009 and 2016. The Democrats lost everywhere. I mean, they got crushed in 2010. They got demolished in 2014. But when Obama was on the ticket, the Democrats kicked butt, right? And because Obama turned out voters like no other candidate in a long, long, long time. Trump has that effect. I have faith that the deplorables, the deplorables are going to turn out big time for Trump, and they don't turn out for these midterm elections. But with Trump at the top of the ticket, I still like his chances.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I agree. I'm just saying that he's keeping both teams in it, and he doesn't have to keep the other team in it.
And by the way, the other thing is, for people to consider is like, if you ask people, do you want to elect Donald Trump right now? His numbers don't look good, but when people actually have to decide, the elections for the president are a binary decision, right? It's either Donald Trump or one of the C- candidates the Democrats have on the stage, and that's being charitable. I mean, if it is Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders, I think Trump, will win, the kind of election that Republicans won against Walter Mondale and Michael Dukakis. So, part of it also depends on who the Democrats put on stage, and we'll see. But right now, everybody's got to agree that's a really, really sorry field of candidates.
Well, here's the thing too. He's not in as bad a position as the D.C. press corps would like you to believe, and even Jonathan Chait over at New York Magazine had to admit that. New polls showing Democrat candidates have been living in a fantasy world, writes Jonathan Chait, because he looked at the actual survey that was done in part by the New York Times, and what the Times poll finds, is that many of the voters who voted Democrat for the midterms are swinging back. Almost 2/3 of the people who supported Trump in 2016 and then a Democrat in 2018 plan to vote for Trump again in 2020, which is why he's in a statistical dead heat, if not ahead of. He's in a statistical dead heat with Biden in 6 swing states and ahead of Warren in most of them as well right now, despite all the punishing he's taking.
I think that's exactly right. And, those areas, you mentioned Pennsylvania. I mean, it is what that number you were talking about. What county was that you were talking about?
Chester County, outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's a must-win county, obviously, for Trump. I mean, there were counties like that. I mean, my favorite example, this is to pick one at random, Green Bay, Wisconsin. I mean, Green Bay, Wisconsin is a county that Barack Obama won by 53-47. Against who's that idiot from Massachusetts that the Republicans put up against Obama? Oh yeah, Mitt Romney. But
right.
Trump won that district like 60-40. That's working class, blue collar America. Those are and by the way, a lot of those people are union workers who voted for Trump. All the union leadership is against Trump, and about half the union members, except for the public sector unions, as you rightly point out. 98% of public sector unions are against Trump. And by the way, he should hold that as a badge of honor.
Steve Moore, he is Wall Street Journal columnist, economist. The book, Trumponomics, Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Trump is going to win. You heard it first here on the Dan and Amy Show.
There you go.
Right. Thanks, Stephen Moore. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. They fight against oxidants that damage the cell's DNA, causing mutations that lead to disease. In my lab, I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. As a scientist, I know the balance of nature works.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Call or go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you our best pricing and free shipping. And we will take an additional 35% off of your first order. This will be a limited time offer, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Hey, I know someone that just ordered a MyPillow yesterday. In fact, they ordered 2 of them, typed Amy in that promo code, and voila, 30% off the order. It's the best. And now they're selling right now the MyPillow towels, which you've got to use. They're very absorbent. They're soft. They don't leave anything on your skin after you use them. They come in all different colors. And there's the Giza cotton sheets, which are wonderful. And the mattress toppers. Get it all at 30% off when you type in Amy in the promo code. Go to mypillow.com. AMY in that promo code, and you'll love to see the difference at checkout. Or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201 and tell them Amy sent you.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. In 2016, one of my employees accidentally clicked through an online vendor's contract, which recommitted my company to an additional 12 months of their service. I called the vendor to explain the accident. Nope, they pointed to their ironclad contract, told me to pay or else. I will pay them, but after 12 months, I'm gone. I've been in business over 30 years, and I've never made my customers sign a long-term contract. Never. And now, my 5th successful company, Patriot Software, offers payroll to business owners with 1 to 100 employees, and there's no long-term contract. And if you need help with your payroll, we will help you for free. Go to patriotsoftware.com, use promo code RADIO, and get 2 months of payroll free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance. Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We could find you a $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-600-5451. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-600-5451. You could save up to 70%. That's 1-800-600-5451. 1-800-600-5451.
Hey, if you're a business owner and employ 5 to 200 employees, listen up. You want to keep your business safe for 2020? Well, Windows 7 is expiring in mid-January, and Microsoft will stop releasing updates and patches for this version. Without those updates, your network security will be compromised. Windows 10 is now the required operating system to keep your network secure. Turnkey IT can help you keep your business information, employee information, and most importantly, your customer information safe with a free security audit, which is normally valued at $600. They'll even recommend a complete strategy that offers protection for your company's data and network. Let the pros at Turnkey IT help you start the year out right with the ultimate security protection and a network upgrade. You've heard the Turnkey IT name for a long time here on AM 560, and they're just like you, a locally owned business that understands the needs of other local businesses. So here's what you do. Leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on what's important. Visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
When John Mariotti started Woodland Windows and Doors in 1969, he knew that relationships were important. He knew that he needed to look out for his customers' best interests. Today, Woodland is run by the second and third generation of Mariottis, who continue to build great relationships and to service their customers. When it's time to replace your windows and doors, trust your Marvin retailer, Woodland Windows and Doors, to guide you through the process. They have a huge selection of Marvin replacement windows and doors, specialists who know their stuff, and professional installation. Homeowners and builders turn to Woodland Windows and Doors for the individual attention they get on each project. Every job is unique. Every job is done right. That's why for 50 years, they've trusted Woodland Windows and Doors with their projects. Woodland Windows and Doors, your Marvin authorized installing retailer, provides the perfect solution and professional installation. They're online at woodlandwindows.com or stop by the Woodland Windows and Doors showroom at the corner of Lake and Gary in Roselle.
AM 560, The Answer.
Partner in building a culture of life in Illinois at the 47th Annual Illinois Right to Life Action Banquet, with tickets available at illinoisrighttolife.org, featuring keynote speaker Matt Walsh, columnist for the Daily Wire, and MC Jeannie Ives, candidate for U.S. Congress in the 6th District. The 47th Annual Illinois Right to Life Action Banquet will be held Friday, November 8th at the Carlisle in Lombard, with tickets for $100 for sale at illinoisrighttolife.org, so get them today. Also, right now, you can be one of two winners of a pair of tickets to the Illinois Right to Life Action Banquet with Matt Walsh and Jeannie Ives by being one of the first two callers. 312-642-5600. Go. 312-642-5600. First two callers get two tickets each to Illinois Right to Life Action Banquet November 8th with Matt Walsh and Jeannie Ives. All right. A text from a friend just talking about yesterday's election results locally here. From Highland, Indiana. Republicans won a majority of the town council. I think Highland has been Dem since the Stone Age, so Indiana continues to trend in the right direction. So that's
a nice
some good news.
Victory.
Well, for those of you eyeing Indiana as a possible place to relocate, Highland, Indiana apparently is trending in a positive direction.
Any Indian towns that you like that you've been looking at, or you're just going straight south?
There's a lot of Northwest Indiana communities that are on the upswing and frankly booming because of so many Illinois residents moving there. There's no question. Now on the other side, we gotta get to this. This Des Moines Register reporter. Yeah. This is the guy who was the Carson King reporter.
Oh, right. He went in to look at his tweets from his past, and then they discovered that he has some provocative tweets from his past too, and he got fired, right?
He wrote this piece. Yes, he did. He wrote this piece for the Columbia Journalism Review to set the record straight. Twitter hates me. The Des Moines Register fired me. Here's what really happened. And, he goes through the whole ordeal and that he wasn't trying to jackpot Carson King. And he regrets some of the tweets that he made as well in his during his misspent youth and so on and so forth. He said this, though. This is great. He talks about Gannett, who owns the Des Moines Register, how they behaved, how they treated him, the consideration they should have given him, and so forth. There was no union at the Register, Des Moines Register. Had I been a union member, I believe I would have been able to more effectively advocate for myself.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
No, you wouldn't have. But
the day
nice
I was
try.
fired, the Department of Justice approved a massive merger between Gannett and Gatehouse, forming the largest media corp in the nation. That will result in a historic monopoly over local news media and will likely prompt widespread layoffs. And he goes on. So now he's sort of a champion for journalism and the daily newspaper generally. He's kind of falling on the sword and decrying what's happening to newspapers and good newspaper men like him. It's really more self-indulgence on top of self-indulgence. And by the way, if there would have been a union at Des Moines Register, he would have been laid off earlier. Just wait to see what happens to the guild that was so recently formed at the Chicago Tribune, as the economics can't support the fantasy land that these journalists desire to live in, the same fantasy land that they promote when it's being advocated by Democrat politicians. And here at Chicago, at the national level, it's just, I mean, you can read it if you want. I'll tweet it out. It's nothing particularly interesting, and it's nothing that particularly prompts me to empathize with this reporter. But I just love the fact that, if I had only been a union man.
Things would have been different. No,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, let's go to war with Mexico. 3 American women killed and 6 of their children brutally slaughtered and burned, some burned alive. It's time to move in. But let's first go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Chicago's police superintendent expected to announce his retirement this week. Lawyer urges a restaurant in the west suburbs to take action after a racial incident. A teen hit by a car in Gurnee recovering. Lakers rally past the Bulls. Blackhawks fall to the Sharks, and the Fighting Illini win in the college basketball opener. WIND, Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
There's a suspect in custody in Mexico. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Arrested in the investigation into the massacre of 9 Americans. Fox's Evan Brown has more live.
Yeah, Dave, relatives of those killed in Mexico in that ambush say they're being kept informed, but
between both of these countries, we want answers. We want to be protected.
Leif Langford is a member of that family. The person arrested was found to be in possession of high-powered sniper rifles, military-grade firearms. Langford says they're trying to get continual updates on the children who survived, including a girl who was grazed by a bullet but who still ran away. 6 of those 9 victims killed were children, Dave.
Evan, there will be more closed-door testimony at the House this hour in the impeachment inquiry. Undersecretary of State David Hale has shown up. 3 others are not expected to be there, including Energy Secretary Rick Perry. This after U.S. Ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland, revised his testimony to now say he presumes there was a quid pro quo, temporarily holding up military aid to Ukraine to get an investigation into the Bidens. Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, counters.
We're going to impeach a president because one witness has said my interpretation was X. Another witness says I presumed Y.
Now, the president just tweeted a thank you to Kurt Volker, former envoy to Ukraine, for testifying he was not aware of any quid pro quo. Kentucky may get a new governor.
We move forward with every other Kentucky citizen as Team Kentucky.
Democrat Andy Beshear declared victory, but Republican Governor Matt Bevin, trailing by more than 5,000 votes, is refusing to concede.
In the hours and in the days and in the weeks ahead, we'll figure out, according to the letter of predetermined law, what the outcome is.
In Mississippi, Republican Tate Reeves was elected governor. Democrats won control of Virginia's state legislature. Turkey has captured one of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi's 4 wives. More than a week after the U.S. raid in Syria that left the ISIS leader dead, his older sister's also been captured. America's listening to Fox News.
Gray skies, 36 degrees, and we've seen some passing snow showers, but much heavier snow is falling across southwest Wisconsin this morning. It's 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Chicago's police superintendent expected to announce his retirement this week. The Tribune reporting Police Superintendent Johnson will announce he's stepping down. Right at the same time, the city inspector general is ramping up an investigation into an incident last month where Johnson was found asleep behind the wheel of a vehicle near his home. A man accused of shooting a 53-year-old Northwest Indiana woman in front of her granddaughter was tracked down in Missouri, part of an interstate manhunt by U.S. Marshals. Charles Goforth was captured at a residence in Independence, Missouri. Hammond police contacted the Regional Fugitive Task Force suspecting he had fled the area. Election night upsets in Northwest Indiana, where Democrat Mayor Ron Meir lost his bid for re-election in Michigan City to Republican candidate Dwayne Perry. The attorney for the families involved in a racial incident last month at a Naperville Buffalo Wild Wings is calling on the restaurant to take more action.
They have an opportunity to be trailblazers right now, where they can show other corporate community participants what it is to stand up to racism.
2 managers have been fired and that customer banned from all Buffalo Wild Wings restaurants for life. Lakers rally past the Bulls, 118-112. Sharks over the Blackhawks, 4-2. College hoops, Fighting Illini, 78-70 winners over Nichols State. DePaul, UIC, and Loyola were college basketball winners. It's 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs. And now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Deirdre Bolton, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Wall Street could see more records today. The Dow and Nasdaq closed in record territory yesterday with continued optimism about trade negotiations with China. However, Mark Avalone at Potomac Wealth says investors need to be cautious.
The earnings reports that came out cited 2020 weakness and 2020 concerns. I think there's too much hype about what the trade deal is going to mean. I think ultimately, in true economic terms, those results are going to be muted. I think it's more of a timeout.
Wendy's business improved in the summer quarter, and now it expects global sales to be up as much as 4% this year. Xerox is looking at buying personal computer and printer company HP. The Wall Street Journal says Xerox is about to receive a windfall of $2.3 billion from Fujifilm after ending a joint venture. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
The mainstream media wants to divide Americans into neat little groups, and they want you to believe that everyone in each of those groups thinks alike. John Anthony and Charles Love are here to blow up that lie. Join them for Black and Right this Saturday at 1 p.m. when they expose the lies of the media and the hypocrisy of the left and have fun doing it. It's Black and Right this Saturday at 1 p.m. right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Travel your way with the Apple Vacation Super Sale. With more destinations, more relaxation, and more fun, Apple Vacations puts affordable prices and unbeatable value right at your fingertips. It's all included: flights, hotel, meals, drinks, and ground transportation in one convenient package price. With up to 60% off and instant savings up to $600 at participating resorts. Discover all-inclusive vacations at Ocean by H10 hotels in Mexico and the Caribbean and enjoy premium services, facilities, and amenities fit for elite travelers. So whether you're a sun worshiper or a thrill seeker, there's an ocean hotel perfect for your next adventure. Call Carey Travel Express at 847-639-3300 or visit careytravelexpress.com to book your Apple vacation today. Savings valid at participating resorts on select dates from January through April 2020. Restrictions apply.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. Patriot Software provides American businesses with easy, cloud-based, premium accounting software and full-service payroll for up to 100 employees. Business owners love the simplicity, the price, and our U.S.-based support. And accountants love the powerful capabilities. Check out our nearly perfect 5 out of 5-star ratings.
Keep your time and money.
I'm Dr. Bob Arnott, and I treat pain with Salonpas. Before you take anything for back or joint pain, I recommend applying topical pain relievers first, like Salonpas lidocaine patch. Salonpas lidocaine contains the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription. It blocks pain receptors, providing effective, long-lasting, and non-addictive relief. Also available in roll-on or cream. Look for the silver Salonpas box in the pain relief aisle. Salonpas, it's good medicine.
8:07 AM 560 traffic center time. Jim Telemonte.
Inbound Kennedy delays start at Cumberland. 54 minutes is the drive time. O'Hare to downtown. 34 from Montrose. 35 on the Express. Eisenhower's an hour and 9 minutes. 390 to downtown. 52 minutes from Manhunt. Stevenson an hour and 13 minutes. 355 Lakeshore Drive. Ryan 25 minutes. 95th to downtown. I-57 33 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford 40. Northbound Tri-State delays are from 115th and Ridgeland to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. It's about Adams Tollway delays from Beverly to Higgins and Hoffman Estates. Reagan Tollway jammed 25 to Yackley. Northbound Veterans Memorial from Boughton to the Reagan Tollway, and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Cloudy and chilly, snow shower for this morning, followed by some rain this afternoon, the high 48. Cloudy, breezy, and cold. Snow shower tonight, low 27. Partly sunny, breezy, cold day tomorrow with a high at 34. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Skies are gray, 36 degrees at O'Hare, 37 Lakefront. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Don't miss the ammo event this weekend at Shoot Point Blank. Pick up great deals on ammo, like 50 rounds of 9mm as low as $10.99 per box. The more ammo you buy, the more you save. Load up this weekend at Shoot Point Blank's ammo event. See store for details.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I want to talk about something fun like a Waffle House, but you know Amy, she's always, everything has to be geopolitics, foreign policy.
Exactly.
It's always deep thinking over here. So Mexico and responding to the cartel that murdered those Mormons.
Yeah, so I think that we should go to war with Mexico, or at the very least, send in special forces to off this drug cartel. They killed 3 American mothers and 6 of their children, including 2 8-month-old twins. I mean, it's just heartbreaking. I'm sure you've seen the victims' pictures on TV, but this is what it was like for the grandpa who was, he wanted evidence of the burned out SUV, and it's heartbreaking.
This is for the record. Nita and 4 of my grandchildren are burnt and shot up. Right on the road out of La Mora.
And this is a group of breakaway Mormons that have lived in northern Mexico for decades. And I could just tell you don't care that you don't think. Do you think we should go to war with Mexico? 312-642-5600 is our turnkey .pro answer line. 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
This sort of speaks to the need for secure borders because you have barbarians like the cartels operating across the border, operating in Mexico. Obviously, their tentacles reach into the United States, as the cartels that preceded them have. They're particularly violent. We've seen the body count in communities like Ciudad Juarez. So this is horrific what's happened. Of course, war with Mexico. What do you mean war with Mexico? This is the Mexican state doing it. It's a Mexican state unable to stop it. So you mean you want to go to war with the drug cartels?
Yeah, we should send in. If we were able to take out the ISIS leader, we could, in the dark of nightness, go in there and kill these drug cartel members.
We do. Okay. Well, we do joint operations. Obviously, we have this drug enforcement agency that does operations in conjunction with foreign governments in foreign lands that are beset by narco trafficking, like Mexico is. So, I don't know the extent of the operations at present, but I do know that the Mexican government has scrambled 25,000 Mexican troops to help us deal with securing our southern border by better securing their southern border with Guatemala. And, anything that we would do to go after those parties responsible for those murders would necessarily have to be done in conjunction with the Mexican government.
Well, President Trump spoke with the president of Mexico yesterday, and don't know exactly what happened during that phone call, but Trump did tweet, "This is the time for Mexico, with the help of the United States, to wage war," capital letters, "on the drug cartels and wipe them off the face of the earth. We merely await a call from your great new president."
Yeah, well, that's fine. And
real quick, yeah.
He's saying nice things about a Marxist like Obrador, or AMLO. That's fine. And they've had a good relationship, and they, have this USMCA that's pending a House vote and probably will be through the 2020 election. But, yeah, so that's all well and good, and Trump is offering to help, and fine. Just like the war with Mexico thing is just, it's a little bit...
Well, and we still don't know what happened. There's 3 theories. There's a possibility that they weren't paying ransom to drug dealers, so they tracked the family down. The family was going from their hometown to a wedding in Chihuahua when this happened. Also, there's a possibility there was a case of mistaken identity, which I don't know how that could happen. And then, what was it? I can't remember the third thing, but thank God not everyone died. Listen to this.
The oldest, who was 13, he hid the rest of the kids behind a tree on the side of the road and walked back to our community to get help.
And she said that, if you're not in the mafia, you stand a chance of being attacked.
We were always told, if you're not in the mafia, you'll be safe. They won't hurt you. They won't bother you. After this incident, I know that is not true.
And the 5 children that were injured were taken to a hospital in Tucson, Arizona.
Obviously, that's not true. I mean, is anybody paying attention for the last half century? What do you mean if you're not a part of the cartel that you're safe? If you're not part of the mafia, what are you talking about? In Mexico and Central America and Southern America, we're unfamiliar with terrorist organizations and cartels kidnapping for money or for political leverage. I mean, can we stop being so Pollyannish about what we're dealing with? And part of this is the press corps. When Trump talks about bad hombres in Mexico, these are the hombres he's talking about. He's not talking about, Mexicans as a people. He's talking about criminals and criminal organizations. But we can't talk about it in a serious way because everybody is so intent on getting offended. And then something like this happens, and then everybody's rallying around, beating the drums of war. Bob, downtown, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys. This is what pisses me off. There was one time in my life I can remember Hillary Clinton was right when she said these cartels are fueled by people in this country buying drugs. If you want to stop those cartels, stop doing drugs. It's easy. But too many people are joking about doing coke. Marijuana is like a lifestyle. We can look at ourselves for this. If there's no money coming from America, there's no cartel.
Thanks for the call, Bob. I'll tell you what, this was memorialized in a season of Narcos very well. The cartel that preceded Pablo Escobar was a huge marijuana cartel in Mexico. Bill in Downers Grove.
Yeah, morning. It's strange, Amy, that you brought all this up because I was just on Facebook with one of my groups talking about exactly the same thing. We have been at odds with Mexico and the government and the cartels for at least 50 years. And we've tried working with them. We've tried everything to try and coordinate with them. The problem that we run into is that the governments, just as the cartels, are corrupt. And I don't see, without a concerted effort from the Mexican government and the people that are from Mexico and South America that live here now, to try and help us stamp this out. We can't do it alone without invading the country. I mean, as much as, everybody talks about how terrible that sort of thing is, but you look everywhere we've been at battle or at war, the issue that we have is we try and help people. We don't try and get the country back to where it's for the people of that country and not to make the governments solid.
Thanks for the call, Bill. I mean, at least we're not using the DEA to arm the cartels, as was the policy under the Obama administration.
Yeah. Oh my God, Fast and Furious.
Jim in Naperville. Hey.
You just made one of my points, Dan. Amy, I understand your sentiments about it, and I just think you're misspeaking a little bit. Dan, you're spot on, of course. The thing is, we can provide Turkey with a 18-mile wide border to keep any Kurds out from invading or threatening their border. Yet we can't provide a buffer between Mexico and the southern border. It's shameful. We should be in there. We should be working with the Mexican government to bomb the living crap out of these people and bomb them into oblivion. We know where they are. It's just that the Mexican government is corrupt, and they are unwilling to coordinate with us to do it. And we have the means. We need to hit them hard,
all right,
and take them out.
All right, Jim. Thanks for the call.
Use those night vision goggles.
By the way, Breakaway Mormons.
Yeah.
That was the name of my college band. Yeah, it's a Stray Cats tribute band.
Oh, Stray Cat. Okay. You know what, Dan? Too soon.
Ralph and Rantoul.
No, we should not go to war with them because they want us to win, because then they would become the world's largest welfare state besides California, who's trying to do that with the size of their economy. Maybe if we were to take it over, maybe we could let Sheriff Arpaio run it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
He's
know
looking
that.
for a job.
Is anybody talking about taking over Mexico? No, I don't think so.
We don't want to take it over, but we want to kill those cells. I mean, the cartel leaders. Why not? Look what they killed 9 Americans, you guys, and babies that were strapped into car seats. Shot them through the head, shot them through the back. And the survivors, as I said, are in Tucson, Arizona, heavily, heavily guarded. So guarded that they wouldn't let, the word's not out about what hospital they're actually located in, because they're afraid that the drug cartel is going to come into this country and off them to finish the job.
I think
they burn babies alive, too. That's another thing.
Yeah, I understand their brutality. I think you've seen one too many editions of Sicario, though. George in Libertyville.
Hey, guys. My comments are more towards your listeners. If you still have any liberals listening to this station, Dan, these are the same people that were screaming, unintelligently about our leaving Ukraine. I want to hear these same people now screaming for the invasion of these guys. And like the earlier callers say, let us decimate the drug cartel. You're never going to stop it, but we can make them start all over again and see how that works out for them. But if you're a liberal and you're not screaming about this, then you're really just an absolute fraud.
All right, George, thanks for the call. Tom in Deer Park.
I think your first caller touched upon what I wanted to say about the demand, and until the drug demand is stopped, the cartels aren't going to break up. And there's a pretty good libertarian argument what we need to do, not only in this country, but the Western world. But even if we were to get that done and reduce the demand through some sort of legalization scheme, if you look back at Prohibition in America, it ended 90-some years ago, and you still have the tentacles of the mob. I think it was to your point that once they get out of the illegal drug business, it was alcohol back then. Well, they got to find something else to do. So even if we were to break it up, it's an endemic cult. It's an institution down there, and it's endemic. So it's going to be a huge problem. And if anybody thinks that going to war or building a wall is going to solve it, I've got a bridge to sell you in Saudi Arabia.
No, thanks for the call, Tom. I don't know there's some turnkey solution, but you can, as you're pointing out, you can do things that are more sensible as opposed to things that are less sensible to interdict it, to minimize it as much as humanly possible. Nobody's talking about panaceas, talking about best practices. Lee and Hammond.
Yeah, hi, guys. The only thing that surprises me about this news coverage on this is the shock of the American people now that 9 Americans been killed. There's probably been 90,000 innocent Mexicans murdered down there in the last 40 years, and nobody gave a damn about it. I just don't understand the Pollyannish attitude of the American people. This is why that border has to be secured. And as far as these drugs coming in here, after 40 years, I cannot believe that those drugs would be coming in here unless somebody within our government wants them in here. Read Dr. John Coleman's book about the history of drug running around the world. These different colonial powers did it for 500 years. And I can't believe that we can run around the world, halfway around the world in Turkey and in Syria and in Afghanistan, securing borders there, but we can't even secure our own southern border unless certain people want that border porous. Simple as that.
Thanks, Lee.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Want your home's furnace to stay safe and reliable? And want to prevent any potential problems before they happen? At your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, we recommend an annual furnace inspection and tune-up. Right now, get big savings on a furnace tune-up. Call 855-1-HOUR. Because not taking care of your furnace, that's just cold.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Hey, listen up. How would you like to have your mortgage or rent paid for an entire year? What? Would that qualify as a Christmas miracle? Well, that could happen if you enter and win our Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest that runs now through December 20th, presented by AM Woodland Outdoor Design. But you can only win if you enter. And to do that, you need to go to 560theanswer.com and search for the keyword miracle. That's 560theanswer.com. Keyword miracle to enter for a chance to have your mortgage or rent paid for all of 2020. We are not making this up. I can't even believe what I'm reading. Can I join this contest? get your rent or mortgage paid for an entire year. Go to 560theanswer.com, keyword miracle.
Did you miss the open enrollment this year? I can help you purchase a PPO health insurance plan at any time that eliminates the mandatory maternity coverage. This is Tom Marabali, your health insurance advocate and independent producer for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and other carriers. If you're over 50 and are covered by the Affordable Care Act, you're paying for maternity coverage every month whether you want it or not. In Chicago, the least expensive PPO health insurance plan under the ACA will cost $572 per month with a total out-of-pocket cost of $7,900 before your bills are paid at 100%. I can show you how to eliminate the mandatory maternity coverage and lower your monthly premium to $278 per month with a total out-of-pocket cost of $2,500 before your bills are paid at 100%. That's a savings of $294 a month and over $5,000 with my lower deductible. For a free quote and to see if you qualify, call me, Tom Marabali, at 630-863-3477. That's 630-863-3477.
Hey, is your basement leaking? Does it only flood when it rains? How about your foundation? Is it cracked? Your house sinking? Concerned? Well, if you have any of those concerns, simply call Permaseal. You know the number, 1-800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-7325. Or go to permaseal.net and schedule a free consultation. They can come over to your house, check it out. Again, it's a free estimate. And there's no haggle pricing and a price assurance guarantee, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best value. It's a Chicagoland family business. They've been around since 1979, all thanks to Roy Spencer. So give them a call, 800-421-SEAL, or go online, permaseal.net.
Hey, Craig and Leslie here from In the Know. We know how important it is to take a partner in the passenger seat when you're on a long road trip. You need a trusted friend and a voice to help you navigate through the hills and valleys of your journey. We want to be that voice for you on your road to retirement.
Absolutely. Our whole team at Wealth Management Group will be by your side for the long haul.
Let Wealth Management Group be your compass and your guide to retirement.
Find us at investwithwmg.com and tune in each week to In the Know Sunday mornings at 10 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I started taking them about 7.5 years ago. It was right after I lost my husband. My husband passed away. I was grieving so bad I wasn't eating at all. I mean, I just didn't care. And so I heard the advertisements on the radio, and I thought, well, my family's upset about me. I got to get myself straight, and I started taking them. So I always say they kind of saved my life, you know. They gave me back my life. I would say that.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Call or go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you our best pricing and free shipping. And we will take an additional 35% off of your first order. This will be a limited time offer, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, it's Dan and Amy, and this is an underreported result from yesterday's Kentucky election. Republican Daniel Cameron was elected Kentucky's next Attorney General Tuesday, the first African-American to ever win a race for the office and the first Republican to do so in over 70 years.
Wow. All right.
33-year-old black Republican Daniel Cameron is Kentucky's Attorney General. You want to talk about a rising star. It's worth noting. This, too. I'm trying to get to this piece. I love this piece. If you can manage a Waffle House, you can manage anything. This piece
Probably
by
true.
Sam Walker in the Wall Street Journal, as former reporter and editor at the Journal. Waffle Houses, closely held suburban Atlanta-based chain of 24-hour budget diners in 25 states. He got an email from a reader. Said, I have come to believe that a successful Waffle House manager could succeed in almost any retail job in America. And so that prompted Sam Walker to dig into Waffle House.
Yeah.
And he goes through some of the challenges, but 40,000 associates that work at Waffle Houses. What does it take to be a successful Waffle House manager? Speed, for one thing. To meet the goal of serving every customer in 8 minutes or less, the waitstaff doesn't bother punching orders into a computer. They write them down in shorthand code and read them aloud to cooks who remember them by arranging condiments on empty platters. For example, a face-up mustard packet signifies pork chops.
Oh.
If the restaurant is busy or short-staffed, manager expected to dive in. The company's training program teaches them, the managers, how to analyze P&L statements, but it also prepares them to cook, clean, and wait tables. The company's president and chief executive, Walt Emmer, said doing the grunt work is good for business. It's helped managers earn the trust and respect of their teams while staying connected to the entire operation. You learn about what's working and what's not. Once they tackle the pace of the next challenge is endurance. Put simply, Waffle House never closes. If there's a crisis in the dead of night, the manager inevitably gets a call. And, of course, the testament to their stamina, the Waffle House stamina, their employees, the Waffle House Index.
What's the Waffle House?
After a hurricane,
Yeah.
FEMA uses Waffle Houses as an informal way to measure the damage. How many Waffle Houses are open?
Wow.
Yeah. That is, I forgot about that, but what a great testament to the corporate culture of Waffle House. The Waffle House Index after a natural disaster. To assess the extent of the damage.
We should get Waffle House up here.
Up in here.
We need it up.
Yeah, exactly.
You picking up what I'm laying down, Danny.
One young woman who went to work at a Waffle House because she couldn't get a job at Chick-fil-A, she said, just because it was competitive. There's more applicants for Chick-fil-A, not because she's untalented.
It's because they have Sundays off and they're a good Christian family.
Well, it's just more competitive, Waffle House. And so since she worked her way up to be a manager, she says customers expect her to be their therapist, but they all expect her to be cheerful. She says it's about being prepared for anything and not having one answer key to deal with life. I think that's helpful. It builds resilience and resourcefulness. Tip servers know that being a team player helps land lucrative shifts, and entry-level managers earning as little as $45,000 know if they preserve for 5 years, they're liable to receive stock options and earn as much as $117,000.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah. The same woman said, at Waffle House, nobody coddled me. I couldn't do anything to make myself sound impressive. You have to develop a reputation for doing what you say you're going to do. It could help with the entitlement you see in office environments. At Waffle House headquarters, entitlement isn't an issue. Every executive, including the CEO, visits the restaurants. They wear the same uniform as hourly employees. And if it's busy, they bus tables and take orders. As their CEO, Walt Emmer, said, it's hard to get an inflated opinion of yourself when you're washing dishes every day. And that's from top to bottom at Waffle House. I just love this because, it doesn't have the prestige factor that people, I think, overestimate with respect to jobs and companies and job titles. But it produces for the people that work there. I mean, it's really a great testament to organizational success. And after reading Walker's piece, I'm sort of convinced, too, if you can manage a Waffle House, you can manage anything.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, I can't wait. Tell them who's going to be here, what we're talking about.
George Perry, former federal and state prosecutor who has previously worked with Dr. Michael Baden, will join us to talk about the Epstein suicide/murder conspiracy at 8:38.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Sausage, egg, and cheese grits bowl. Never pass a Waffle House in the South. Sausage, egg, and cheese grits bowl, number one.
All right, now there you go. You heard it straight from Mike Scott.
Making me hungry.
It is perfect. Cloudy and 37 degrees outside. We're watching developments this morning in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where a hospital is safe after reports of an active shooter this morning. It's the Cape Fear Valley Hospital. Hospital employee claimed at least one person may have been shot inside. No additional information available. Suspect is under arrest in connection with the murders of 9 members of a family in Mexico. Kendra Miller, a relative of many of the victims, says the family's used to dealing with cartels.
They'll stop and surround our vehicles, but then they'll see who it is and that they recognize who we are because they keep an eye on every single person that comes in and out of the valley.
3 women, 6 kids were shot and burned after their cars were attacked by cartels Monday. Several high-ranking officials in the Trump administration being called to testify in the Democrat-led impeachment inquiry today, including Energy Secretary Rick Perry. Democrats have won a marquee race in Kentucky. Republicans swept a field in Mississippi where Tate Reeves moves into the governor's chair. Chicago's police superintendent is expected to announce his retirement this week. At the same time, the inspector general is ramping up an investigation into an incident last month where Johnson was found asleep inside a vehicle. Election night upset in northwest Indiana in Michigan City, where Democrat Mayor Ron Muir is out of a job, beaten by Republican candidate Dwayne Parry. An off-duty Chicago police officer is accused of striking an on-duty officer last week on the north side. Karina Salgado was charged with criminal trespass. Authorities investigating say Salgado hit that officer in the face while police were trying to stop her from entering an establishment in the 3700 block of North Broadway. In public housing, residents in Chicago are being told no marijuana, not even at home, not even when pot turns legal in Illinois Jan 1. Sun-Times says this Chicago Housing Authority began sending out notices last week saying it can terminate public aid if anyone is using marijuana for recreational or medicinal purposes on CHA property. Lakers over the Bulls. Sharks over the Blackhawks in San Jose. The news, a service of Mattress Firm at Mattress Firm. You can get an early access to the Black Friday sale. Shop now and save up to $600 on a king bed for the price of a queen. Plus, take home a free adjustable base when you spend just $4.99. It's the best deal of the season. 8:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher explains why Washington doesn't like the president.
It's way beyond just personality and tweets and temperament. No. This is the one guy who has successfully taken on the machine. The deep state is just on fire.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Mick O'Rourke, President and CEO of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank. I'd like to thank our customers for selecting Signature as their trusted banking partner to help build their businesses. We started Signature in 2006, and we've had the opportunity to meet so many hardworking Chicagoans. From third-generation family-owned businesses on the west side of Chicago to tech innovators at 1871. Signature Bank is proud to work across many different industries in the city and beyond. As the fastest growing, independently owned business bank in Chicago, Signature is always welcoming new customers. I'd love to meet you and learn about your business.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Balance of nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I started taking them about 7.5 years ago. It was right after I lost my husband. My husband passed away. I was grieving so bad I wasn't eating at all. I mean, I just didn't care. And so I heard the advertisements on the radio, and I thought, well, my family's upset about me. I got to get myself straight, and I started taking them. So I always say they kind of saved my life, you know. They gave me back my life. I would say that.
Experience the balance of nature difference for yourself. Call or go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you our best pricing and free shipping. And we will take an additional 35% off of your first order. This will be a limited time offer, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
A lost dog, not a lost cause. Read Catching Murphy, the latest book from the Associated Press, available now exclusively at Amazon.com.
8:38 AM 560 Traffic Center time and Jim Talamonte.
Inbound Kennedy traffic is heavy. Nagel Circle, it is 55 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 42 from Montrose, 43 in the Express. Outbound 44 minutes to the airport. Eden's 21 minutes, Lake Cook Junction. Eisenhower, 58 minutes, 390 to downtown, 40 from Manheim. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 40 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 25 minutes, 80 to the Merge. Bishop Ford, 35. See delays on the eastbound Reagan Tollway. It's very heavy. Farnsworth to Ackley. Northbound Veterans Memorial from Dalton to the Reagan Tollway. The Army Trail Toll to 290. Southbound 355 is tight from the Army Trail Toll to St. Charles. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1 hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Chilly day ahead. Snow shower this morning, followed by regular showers this afternoon. Maybe some ice right along that Wisconsin border, high 48. A couple of snow showers in the forecast overnight, low 27. 37 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity, this afternoon at 2 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So Project Veritas was sent a tape of ABC News anchor Amy Robach on a hot mic on set talking about the Jeffrey Epstein saga, expressing her frustration that ABC News refused to greenlight reports that she had put together on Epstein from years ago.
Yeah, she got a key witness, the one who allegedly slept with Prince Andrew, who was underage at the time she was, and all this juicy stuff. The facts that people needed to know. And the network put the kibosh on it.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. And I had it all 3 years ago.
That day has come now. Does she believe that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide?
So do I think he was killed? 100%. Yes, I do. Because he made his whole living blackmailing people. Yeah. There were a lot of men in those planes, a lot of men who visited that island, a lot of powerful men who came into that apartment.
And the setup for the killing?
And they made it seem as though he made that suicide attempt 2 weeks earlier, but his lawyers claimed that he was roughed up by his cellmate around the neck. That was all like to plant the seed. And then that's why I really believe it, really believe it.
Now, she, after this was aired by Project Veritas, recast her comments. I'm talking about Amy Robach, saying, I was caught in a private moment of frustration. I was upset. An important interview I conducted with Virginia Roberts didn't air, but she, defends her employer for. I'm sure she was motivated.
What she's saying there is, please don't fire me.
Right. She said it didn't. She said the same thing the company said. ABC News said it didn't meet our standards because they didn't independently verify the allegations that were being made against the Bill Clintons and the Randy Andys of the world.
Well, shame on ABC. I mean, they had a story about crimes that were being committed against young women, and think of how many women's lives they could have saved if they had done this story 3 years ago.
Well, also
because that would have put pressure on the authorities to act.
Also, ABC News is hypocrisy, right? The whole meet our standards of independent verification. Oh, you mean like the uncorroborated allegations against Brett Kavanaugh during his confirmation hearing? You mean
like showing, saying Syria is under attack and it's really a Kentucky gun range?
Yeah. And not answering any questions about how you obtained that video, what vetting you did to assure its authenticity, and so on and so forth. So the whole ABC News didn't meet our standards stuff is pretty comical. But do we have anything here other than an indictment of ABC News? For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by George Perry, former federal and state prosecutor, regular contributor to the Philadelphia Inquirer, and blogs at knowledgeisgood.net. He has written on the topic, Jeffrey Epstein's death, the plot thickens. Indeed, it does. George, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, nice to be here.
So the Project Veritas video comes on the heels of Dr. Michael Baden stating that the findings of the autopsy were more consistent with ligature homicidal strangulation. You've worked with Dr. Michael Baden before as a prosecutor, and how did you receive his conclusions and then now this additional information from the news organization?
Well, Michael Baden is, in my estimation, the best forensic pathologist in the world. I've worked with a lot of forensic pathologists, but Baden is just the best of his profession, and I highly respect his opinion. And his analysis, he was hired by the Epstein family to attend the autopsy of Jeffrey Epstein and to investigate the circumstances surrounding his death. And as Dr. Baden told me in private communication, which I'm now at liberty to disclose, the chief medical examiner for the city of New York, who issued the report that the cause of death was hanging and the manner of death was suicide, the chief medical examiner was not present at the autopsy.
Oh, really?
And and the assistant medical examiner who actually did the autopsy agreed with Baden that there was not enough evidence as of the date of the autopsy to categorize this as a suicide. And the assistant medical examiner said, well, we're going to put findings down as pending further investigation. Nevertheless, a week later, the chief medical examiner changed the manner of death to suicide, and the Epstein family wants to know why that change was made. What happened in that week between the time of the autopsy and the time the report was made that changed it from pending further investigation to suicide? And that's what prompted the Epstein family to authorize Dr. Baden to appear on Fox and Friends to discuss what he observed at the autopsy and to, in effect, prod the authorities to release further information about the investigation.
What was wrapped around it? What did he use to allegedly kill himself with it? Was it a bed sheet, pajamas? Which was it?
Well, they have sheets. It was described to me, orange sheets at the Metropolitan Correctional Facility, which is a federal lockup in Manhattan. And depending on the reports, I haven't gotten confirmation of this, but one inmate has said that those sheets are made out of paper, which doesn't mean, by the way, that they can't be twisted and used as a ligature. But in any event, it was supposed to be torn strips of bed sheet, which were used to make the ligature.
You write. I'm sorry. You write about Baden also saying he found it strange that he hadn't been contacted by federal authorities since everybody involved in the autopsy should be consulted about it.
Yeah. Since Baden was present, and he is a terrific forensic pathologist, he expected that anyone conducting a thorough investigation would have consulted him and everyone else, for that matter, who was present at the autopsy. And as he reports, he was not consulted, and he's wondering why. But one of the points that he makes is whoever made that ligature would have had to have put a lot of DNA on it in the process of making it. And if the FBI, since this happened in a federal lockup, the FBI would be the investigative agency. Does the FBI have the ligature, and have they tested it for DNA? At the autopsy, they tested all of Epstein's clothing for DNA, but apparently they didn't take swabs from the ligature. The ligature is presumably in the possession of the FBI, and as Bodden has pointed out, it only takes a few days now to get DNA results back. So whose DNA is on that ligature? And that's a very important question. The other thing is they took fingernail clippings from the body to test for DNA, and we don't know what the DNA results from the fingernail clippings.
Bodden said that his observations don't mean that this was homicide, but they do mean that it certainly deserves investigation. And as a former federal prosecutor or state prosecutor, I want to get your spidey sense on this too. It's the combination of the autopsy, but also other things that I don't know if there's been enough of a reckoning on with respect to the incident with the security officers being asleep, ostensibly, and just how unusual it is for someone to die in federal custody, for something like this to happen, and sort of which is more improbable, what happened as it's been reported, or somebody actually getting in and being able to murder Jeffrey Epstein in custody?
Well, if you play the probabilities, I would say that I have to agree with Dr. Bodden that number one, it's extremely unlikely that you're going to have two guards fall asleep at the same time, and also the video cameras surrounding Epstein's cell, they were inoperative, and you got to wonder how all of that happened in regard to probably the most important inmate in that facility. How is it that two guards fall asleep at the same time? Bodden, by the way, has been investigating inmate deaths in the New York State prison system for the last 50 years. And he says in his experience, he's never seen anything like this. And I have to defer to his expertise in that regard. So, yeah, plus, here's another thing that points in the direction of this being a homicide. The hyoid bone, which is a horseshoe-shaped bone just above the Adam's apple, below the chin and just above the Adam's apple, and the thyroid cartilage and the cricoid cartilage were fractured. And that is more commonly seen in the case of ligature strangulation, where a great deal of force is applied, than seen in situations where someone is hung. It's not impossible for hanging to result in that. And as a matter of fact, in previous articles on this subject, I've cited the medical literature, which shows that the older a person is, the greater the calcification of those structures are, and that it is possible to fracture them by means of hanging. But I have to defer to Biden's expertise. He's done 20,000 autopsies.
Yeah, he even did Aaron Hernandez, who also killed himself in prison.
Yeah. I know.
But I mean, if we're going to go down the road of a possible homicide, then again, the guards, as far as I know, haven't been implicated in any way other than dereliction of duty. So, so what's the but better than we do, the probability that somebody can get into that facility undetected and out undetected, and the coordination that would be required to pull that off?
Well, you don't need to get somebody in and get them out. I mean, the guy's surrounded by 799 inmates who would be more than happy to kill him.
Okay. Somebody into his cell,
they're
though.
Already... Well, the question becomes, and again, we don't know any of this. Was the cell locked?
Yeah.
In some of these facilities, they don't even have bars on cells. So I don't know the answer to that. But the fact of the matter is, he died under highly suspicious circumstances, and there are certain things that can be done to provide some definitive answers. Number one, testing the DNA on the ligature to see if anybody else touched that ligature, and number two, what did they find from the fingernail clippings? Presumably Epstein would have fought for his life if someone was trying to do this to him, and he might have been able to get their DNA underneath his fingernail clippings.
And his lawyer said he was and the lawyers too say he was in great spirits the night before. They had spent 8 hours with him or something during the day, and then into the early evening, and then he went back to his cell, and they said, he was going to fight this. He was upbeat and happy.
So can we expect some sort of formal wrap-up report from the federal investigation into his death?
Well, there should be. I can tell you this. I was at a dinner in Washington not an intimate dinner, I might add. There were 30 of us. But the Attorney General was present, and he was asked what was his reaction when he found out that Epstein had died, and he just expressed utter exasperation and anger when he found out that Epstein had died in federal custody. He used a one-word expletive, which I can't repeat, to characterize the way he felt. So I know that the Attorney General wants answers, and the Attorney General is a very serious man, and I expect that there will be a definitive report. I did see a news blurb the other day that there had been about 20 subpoenas issued to guards and other personnel at the center to find, or the facility. So presumably the investigation is continuing to find out how it is that this top prize valued inmate wound up dead in federal custody.
He is a former federal and state prosecutor, regular contributor to the Philadelphia Inquirer and blogs at knowledgeisgood.net. George Perry, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Nice to be with you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Now that winter's here, how's your fireplace and chimney? Before you light the first fire, have your chimney cleaned and inspected by Chicagoland's most trusted fireplace and chimney company. The experts at Fireplace and Chimney Authority will give your family peace of mind that your fireplace is safe and works properly all season long. And if you call today, get $45 off a cleaning and inspection. You'll be all set. Since 1995, Fireplace and Chimney Authority has been the favorite for everything fireplace and chimney. For a limited time, get 10% off any new purchase of a fireplace, new doors, gas logs, insert, or fireplace tool sets and screens. With record-breaking cold predicted this winter, now is a great time to update your existing fireplace or add a new fireplace to your home. Remember to get your fireplace serviced this winter and receive $45 off your chimney cleaning and inspection. Call Fireplace and Chimney Authority now, 630-279-8500, or visit online, fireplaceandchimneyauthority.com. Fireplace and Chimney Authority.